Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you sound
always happy.
As excited as a constipated sloth.
That is his excited voice.
Yeah.
It's the same as his disappointed voice or his exuberant voice or his unhappy voice. It comes in one tone, robotic. He's quite robotic.
Oh, this is going to be funny. I can tell already.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Woo! Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 83 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And joining me, who has finally figured out how to use Squadcast. I'm looking at him in the video of his afro. He's using his phone and supposed to be focusing. My boy, my sidekick, my Padawan, Beeker Q, or Beeker the Bot. What's up, Beeker the Bot?
I forgot we had this video. It's good you said that.
Yeah, you should probably come closer to the mic too. You're kind of far away.
Is this going to be okay with video?
Yeah, we're working fine right now, but come a little closer to the mic there, buddy. You know, I've been telling you for a while, get yourself a proper mic boom and all that type of stuff, but you just don't listen to anything Lefty has to say. But I'm so happy because you're finally using the program that I'm paying for monthly, and you refuse to use it, using all these different excuses, and you can see that it actually works. And now I can see what you're doing, and you're obviously not paying attention to me.
I never pay attention.
Yeah, that is quite obvious.
Watch what happens when you do the intro.
Well, I done the intro.
No, your 5 minutes ad read.
Oh, well, I'm about to do that now. But hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you to all of the NNRC squad from around the world. You guys sent in some cool questions this week. Thank you for the support. Thank you to the guys who bought some of the limited T-shirts. Sorry, we only have big boy sizes left, triple X and quadruple X left. So if you want a limited edition NNRC squad shirt, send me a message and we'll get one out to you. Also, I would like to shout out to our patrons on Patreon. They got early release of the stories segment this week. I must tell you that the story segment is not PG this week, but it's absolutely funny. And thank you to Mr. Adam Lewis for coming on and being a part of that. And thank you to our patrons on Patreon for all the support. You guys help keep these bills paid. Hey, if you want to be a patron, please go ahead, sign up. The link are in the written descriptions. Thank you to all of the awesome companies that sponsor us and advertise with us. Without them, we can't get it done. Without any of you, we can't get it done. So there we go. So I want to shout out to Tekno RC, who had a great weekend at PNB this week. JQ Racing, shout out to all my JQ Racing family from around the world. Love you guys like life. Beach RC, Brent, Lucas, the guys went up to PNB, killed it, 110 degrees. Brent, I must admit, Brent didn't do too well in his racing, but you know, he needs to race some 8 scale more and leave that 10 scale stuff and oval stuff and do some more 8 scale racing, and he'll be better. So I said it. Thank you, Brent, for your support. Shout out to BK Servos as well, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. Don't forget about Manscaped.com. Guys have been showing me, look, people have been using the promo code. I'm so happy about that. We need to use that promo code because that is our first out of the industry sponsor on this podcast. And hey, if you have the balls enough to show me and tag me in the post and you use the no name RC promo code, do it. I know some of you want to keep it private, but that's all right. I know some of you don't care. But thank you to everybody that's supporting us with Manscaped. Shout out to Rob's Oil for all of your AMSOIL products. Really cool company, really cool dude. He brings the funny story segment this week, and it is funny. Of course, we have kind of two new sponsors, but not new. Wally Builds, man. We had episode 82 this week. We did call-ins with Wally Builds from the new studio. It was dialed. We had new software running. Call-ins were clean. With this fast internet that I got now in the studio, so much more potential. I actually want more bandwidth. Gonna have to pry some more dollars out and see if I could get more bandwidth coming in here, and it'd be even better. And that was awesome. Thank you to everybody that called out. That is on YouTube, because we do have a YouTube channel. So go check that out. I am uploading all of the podcasts to the YouTube channel. And shout out to JQ Threads, man, because they are doing big things, providing opportunities. I know Joseph's really happy about that. That is his passion, is JQ Threads. I like all the posts that's coming out. The motocross gear looks totally dialed. I just wish he would make bigger shirts. I obviously probably have to lose some weight too. I know I have to lose some weight to fit into that stuff, but when he makes it to ultra small fitted European sizes, a 4X is equal to 1X in his style. So, but really cool stuff. New hats too, right, Joseph?
Yeah, we have hats.
Yeah, new hats are great. I like that. Is that like a gunmetal grayish type of hat that you got out, or is that black?
Yeah, dark gray.
Yeah, I like
3 colors.
Yeah, I want the dark gray. So you have dark gray, light gray with black peak.
Yeah.
And what's the other color?
Black.
Yeah, I think I need to get a black one and one of those light gray ones, because the shirts and stuff don't fit me yet, because you haven't got a proper, size chart for big boys. But go check out JQ Threads. JQ Threads is more than just a clothing brand. It is a brand that provides opportunities for people to live their dreams, because are you living your dreams? Shout out to all of these sponsors. Shout out to NNRC Squad. Shout out to our patrons, because without you guys, none of this is possible. Joseph is drinking a damn Smirnoff Ice at the moment. Well, people tease me about liking White Claws. Well, I don't think you can get more girly than a Smirnoff Ice. And I actually like Smirnoff.
You can. Bacardi Breezer.
I like them too, to be honest. Like with a little ice in a cup, maybe an extra shot of vodka. Good. But you know what? I'm actually not drinking right now. I took a break, so I'm good. I'm actually not even going to drink for my birthday. I said I'm going to take a month off from drinking. So I'm 2 weeks in, just about, and I feel great. And I'm saving some money, because I looked over in the corner at my house since we moved, because we save all the bottles for this older man that comes around and collects all the beer bottles, and he sells them. Nice man. He's old guy. Comes over. He always brings us some Platinas or something. My wife and him. My wife says, he reminds me of my grandfather. It's got to be like 80. No, probably not that old, but he's definitely old. He's strong as a horse, man. He comes over in his wheelbarrow and gets all our beer bottles, and he takes them off and sells them. So he hasn't been for a while. So it's just been building up since we moved, man. And I looked over in the corner. I was getting kind of embarrassed, the amount of beer bottles that were over there. And I just thought, how much money have I spent on beer? And I just said, I'm going to take a break. So I did. And yeah, I'm going to see if I'm going to do a month. And if I want to do more than a month, I will. I'm not saying I'm going to stop drinking. I love beer, but just taking a break. So good stuff. Always good to take a break now and then. You know what I mean, Joseph? All about breaks.
Yeah, man.
So
my rest of my life break from Facebook.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You need to really get some better mic technique, Joseph. You need to get a little closer. You're too laid back. Get a boom. Gotta get you a boom. Go to in Finland. We can do this. So, Joseph,
find me a mic and a boom online.
I will. I actually have the adapter for that here. The shock mount, but it's here and I can't get it to you. So, anyway, Joseph, let's have a little catch up. What have you been up to this week? You've been at the track. You've released some pictures of your, some people were seeing pictures of your car, asking questions. I see some different things. I still think that's smoke and mirrors. I think that you just put that picture up to confuse people while you're really testing real stuff.
I don't know. What were people so confused about?
A lot of people were asking about the front arms, but that's nothing new. You've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
And the rear arms is something I haven't seen you do.
Upper arms, front and rear. Yeah. Yeah, just
That-
testing. I think it worked good.
Yeah, dude. As Max would say, yeah, dude. Or it's probably now, yeah, dude. He's getting older.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So JQ Threads has been keeping you busy too. Photo shoots, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, released motocross gear, but it's good for mountain biking too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on the web shop now, actually. So today we're kind of releasing.
Okay, sweet.
It.
Is it just like jerseys and pants? That's it?
Yeah.
Gloves and stuff? No gloves?
No gloves yet.
Okay. How about like mountain bike shorts and all that stuff? That coming?
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Right. That's a specialty niche crowd too. So, but yeah, man, it looks pretty dialed. Is it any future for getting like bigger size shirts here so I can fit in one?
Potentially, yes. Yeah, we could make some.
So where can people get all this JQ Thread stuff?
jqthreads.com. Ships worldwide from there.
Awesome. How about the guide? You haven't talked about that for a while. What's going on with that?
I found a place to print the book. So now what I need to do is I need to get the illustrations done and figure out what pictures are needed. And if I can just use existing pictures, maybe speak with Neo Buggy, Circus RC. Maybe there are some good ones in the RCGP folders, So I need to get all the illustrations and pictures that I need for the book, and text pretty much done. There's still some writing I need to do, but it's mainly just going through everything and making sure everything's good and adding sort of conclusions to each chapter, like in short. Like I extensively explain everything, but then at the end of it, kind of collect the most important things and just make it as easy and clear for people as possible. So I'm still hoping that within August, I could send it out to be printed. So then by the end of September, the book would be done. That's still my goal.
Awesome news, man. Looking forward to that. Did you pat your hair on or something? Because your hair was you look like you had a haircut, but you need one. But the other day, your hair was excessively wild.
That's because my hair may look short, but it stretches out quite a bit.
Yeah. You got to pick it out, man. Let me get you a style. You should grow it. Just grow an afro.
No. The longest one I had was on my second to last Facebook Live.
But you got a haircut from there.
Yeah, then after that, I had a haircut.
Yeah, man. Nice getting a haircut, though. Makes you feel like a new man. Did you watch any of the video from the first live from the studio, the new studio that I did with Wally this weekend? Wednesday night. Yeah,
it looks good. So next we need to figure out how to do the whole podcast with video.
Well, I mean, that's coming. We can do that. That program that I'm using is super, super nice. It needs a few touches. I've actually contacted the people good thing about that program is you can contact the people easily on Facebook, and hopefully they do things because it's pretty powerful programming, and they can do a lot of good things. And if they can get multi-track into that, then man, that software is super good, and we can do good things. But it was fun. We had a good bit of call-ins, and it's good to be back doing that. I will play a little bit with camera angles and stuff like that. A lot to learn, but pretty good from the studio. I was here to 11, and we're on curfew again, so I had to sneak home, even though it's not far from where I live. But I was like a fat ninja, like hiding in the shadows, going from tree to tree. Like I saw that the cops were like, because I'm not far from the police station where I live, like it's literally like 150 feet from where the office is. So I saw the cops out there, like they sit out there with their lights on all night, and they have like a stop there to stop people from going back and forth. So I just was like hiding in the shadows and snuck home. And so all good fun things we do to bring podcasts. Why did you turn your camera off? You don't want me to see what you're doing?
You started breaking up, so I figured the connection is gonna go to shit.
I guess it will come and go. I actually might turn my camera off here too.
So what's the fine if they catch you outside after coffee?
I'm going jail for the night. Yeah, they put you in jail for the night. And yeah. So, but it's not far. I went to the city hall here and asked them for a note. My wife went, and they're like, the city hall is right next to the office. They're like, he doesn't need a note. It's just from here to there. And my wife's like, oh, okay. But she doesn't trust that. So anyway, you know what it is? Don't get caught.
That's right.
Don't get caught. Anything else you wanna talk about before we get into some RC news, Joseph? Because we are this podcast, we actually don't have a guest. We're gonna recap PNB a bit. We did have a guest for the stories, which was Adam Luce, which is absolutely hilarious. Once again, another warning for that because it is not PG. So if you want, I wouldn't let my it's up to you if you want to let your kids listen, but it's just letting you know. But yeah, I think we can go right into the news. What do you think about not much news, just a few race results?
Yeah, we can.
All right. So the RC news this week is brought to you by www.manscaped.com. The NNRC podcast and Manscaped have partnered up to help you, the RC dudes in RC, cut through the jungle and find your manhood, because manscaping is the new thing. Even though Joseph doesn't have any need to manscape at the moment because he's re-virginizing himself, he should manscape. Joseph, have you ordered your lawnmower 3.0? Are you ignoring me? He probably muted me because he probably isn't paying attention. But basically, the Lawnmower 3.0 is a trimmer designed just for your family jewels. But it doesn't only mean you can use it on that part of your body only. It's a great trimmer for all of your body, because I am a pretty much woolly mammoth and I have to get shorn every week, not every week, at once a month by my wife. So we use this Lawnmower 3.0. I also use it to touch up my beard. It's waterproof. It has a LED light. It charges on a charge dock. The blades are replaceable. You can order new blades. The little care package comes with some ball lotion, some ball moisturizer, some boxers, and a t-shirt, even a cool little travel carry case. Actually, it's a nice size travel carry case that you can use to carry all your toiletries. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one of the Lawnmower 3.0s from Manscaped, you can at www.manscaped.com. And guess what? You can save 20% by using the promo code no name in all caps, and it's free shipping, and they ship extremely fast. So showing Manscaped some love, showing your family jewels some love, also shows the podcast some love. Joseph, are you there?
I'm here.
Why didn't you tune into my ad read? Because you're re-virginizing and you ain't manscaped yet?
Yeah.
Wow. We need to hurry up and get you a woman, I think. Or something.
I'm good.
Or something. Oh, yeah, I know. You're getting all lonely. I don't blame you up there in Finland. In Finland, we only have reindeer
I'm
around.
okay. I'm doing okay.
All right. So, top 25. Let's start out with this. Top 25 was released yesterday. And anytime the top 25 RC rankings releases, there is always some scatter action about. People that don't understand it, we have a pretty decent grip on it. I've talked to the owner of Top 25 RC quite a lot. So now, Joseph, we have Jared Tebow has moved up to the top spot after PNB. Obviously, he won PNB, so he goes there. David Ungaro second, and David Ronnefalk dropped down from second to third. Tessman moved up, Mayfield up, Juan Canas down, Ricardo Berton stays where he is. He that will be not named, but he's named in this one, Elliot Boots, is up 1, Rivkin down, Renaud up, Joe Bornhorst stays where he is, Fend moves up 4, Mayfield down, Cavallari down, Battier up, Polito up 4, Drake up 1, Cole Ogden, blah, 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 blah. New entrants into the top 25 are Marco Ravaglia and Spencer Heckert. I could say right now that. Hello, what are you doing? Are you using your Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0? Because I heard some funny clipping noise going on.
No, I'm here.
All right, something's on your. Are you charging your phone?
Yeah, is it that?
Yes. Stop doing that. You know it's that. Every time we do this, you know it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I would say that this top 3 on this is pretty accurate. I would personally probably put Ronnefolk up top because we only had really and truly, we only have had 3 big races this year. We have Montpellier, DNC, and PNB. And David Ronnefolk won the race where all of these guys were racing. Jared Thibault came second. I can't remember where Ongaro placed in at DNC. But I wouldn't argue with this top 3. I would probably reverse it around a little bit, but I definitely think Jared Thibault right now is in the top 3 drivers in the world. He came second at DNC. He won PNB this past week. But obviously, Davide and David have not been able to race because they can't really move around in Europe. But I wouldn't argue with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the right sort of people are always in the top 5 or so. But other than that, I don't know why people still care. The list doesn't really mean anything because the way we race doesn't really support a list like this. So it's like, I don't know.
Oh, people like to talk about it. It gives something for people to talk about. It's the best thing we have right now.
Yeah, for the very top guys who win races, it's close. Like it makes sense. Like if they have a good year and they do well at all the races, and they'll be there at the top. So that's for them. It's okay. But like 6 to 25 or 6 to 40 or 35 or whatever, it's just a shit show. It's like, which race do you go to, kind of thing. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, people get involved in this. People argue over it, and I don't know what to say about it, man. But it's something. It looks the top 10 is we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 Americans in the top 10 and 1 Canadian, and all the rest are Europeans. And I guess England is England a part of Europe? No, it's not in it.
It's still a part of Europe, just not the European Union.
So, and we only have in that top 10, it's pretty mixed up. We have Tekno associated, HB, X-Ray, Mugen, S-Works, Infinity, S-Works associated, Kyosho. So we only have two repeats, that Spencer Rifkin and Ongaro are the associated guys, which are the top 2 associated guys. But yeah, the chassis, it's good to see different chassis up there, multiple chassis brands. Hopefully one day we get a JQ Racing chassis up in there one day. One day when you retire and hire a fast guy.
Yeah, there's 2 S-Works also.
Is there? Oh yeah, there is. Sorry. Canas and Elliott. Well, Elliott does not exist on this list.
Yeah. Still good, though. 8 different brands in the top 10. 9 different in the top 12. There's 9 different ones on the list, too. So who's missing? So there's Agama, Serpent, JQ Racing.
Who else?
Who else is missing?
I mean, it's pretty much got everybody in there. Yeah, I mean, I would say of the major brands, I know people be like, well, Seth Van Dalen is in here. He didn't race many big races last year, so he's probably
at some point. Yeah, he'll shoot up. Where did he finish at this race? Where did he finish at DNC?
Oh, I want to say like maybe 10th or something like that.
Okay,
10th.
Still okay, and now he finished second here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He got second.
Yeah, he finished second.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Gives us something to talk about when there isn't much going on. All right. Live RC racing by the numbers. So they did a comparison, active racers by monthly. They basically said, check out the events of 2020, how the events of 2020 have affected racing entry counts and the trends all the way back to 2018. These numbers show all the active racers by month. So as you can see, the numbers were increasing in June. If one weekend left in July, they are increasing again. So this is pretty interesting to see. Back in January of 2018, 2019, 12,200 active racers, 14,000 in 2019, and 16,140 at the beginning of this year. Then an increase from just under 4,000, just under 4,000 from 2018. Then we move forward a little bit. It varies. Then February, once again, 2020 had more racers. March, obviously what's been going on, I think when the COVID strike, like the end of March, sometimes the racing kind of dwindled. But yeah, I just think this is an interesting stat. So now we come to June of this year, and racing's kind of just getting back in America. And yeah, it's pretty even. 12,170 in 2018, 13,231 in 2019, and 11,158 this June. This is it. If we didn't have these numbers, you can see that RC is growing some. Obviously, this does not count for everyone around the world.
That doesn't mean that RC is growing. It could just mean that more people are using live RC.
Right. That's true too. It is. The numbers are deceiving, but yeah, good. Yeah, that makes sense. I know you're all excited about this, but Ty Tessman wins in Kamloops. Ty can't travel to America right now, so he just has to stay in Canada. Have you seen his new goatee? He's looking very Gord-esque.
I haven't.
Oh man, he's looking like Gord. He's got a goatee now, and he's looking like his old man for sure. Tessman's got to be about 28 now, I would say.
This can only mean one thing about my theory.
Let's see. Tessman was 14 and 28 in 2008. That's 12 years ago. So he's 26, 27 now. He's getting older. He's definitely, I'm looking at his picture. He isn't like a skinny little kid no more. Definitely. Yeah, you better be careful, Joseph. I wouldn't tease him too much. He might knock you the hell out.
I don't think so. I wonder when he's going to fire his dad.
I don't know. Why would he fire him?
I mean, at some point. Cavallari did it.
Well, I think
Tebow didn't necessarily do it.
Right. I think what it is,
divine intervention.
I think what's with Gord is that Gord's not a young man anymore. So he's getting up in age, and we know that RC stresses you out. So maybe Gord might step on at some point, but I don't think so. I think he likes this stuff so much that he'll be around. But Tessman is going to the Calgary Stampede race that's coming up at the end of this next week, I think. The JQ guys were going, but Ryan Steck was telling me he can't go now because Canada's kind of getting stricter with their rules on COVID. So unfortunate for that. Mm-hmm. Adrian Bertin raced this weekend too. Shows that the older man can still get it done. Good to see him still racing. We got to get Adrian on this podcast. Definitely got to get him on this podcast. Talk. He's probably a wealth of knowledge as well. Oh, this is the exciting news for me. So our guest next week is I already planned it, but it's going to be Michał Orlowski, the Polish Punisher. So it looks like they had a race in Poland, and the Kiliches went there, and it's nitro because like Michał has realized that nitro is the glory. He even said that to me in a message. Nitro is the glory. So they had a
racing now. Then
I don't know. I can't see from the picture. Cannot tell from the picture, but he's going to be on the podcast next week, so I'm going to ask him. And the Polish Punisher TQ'd this. He's only racing. This is his second time racing nitro. He TQ'd the race, and in the 45-minute final, he had a small crash which caused the flame out just before the loop, and that's when Borak got past him. So, dude, this guy, if he sticks with nitro, he's probably going to upset people.
Yeah, he's a really good driver.
Yeah, and what amazes me is that Poland is like not known for the RC scene, and he's extremely fast. So I want to know how that has happened.
Due to the EOS going to Poland and that stuff.
Okay.
So
have you ever been to Poland?
I've never been. So they started doing the EOS in Poland, and obviously they must have had some tracks then. Indoor 10 scale off-road on carpet, and he raced Durango back in the day, and that's kind of when he got fast, and then they had an EOS, and he suddenly did really well and got noticed and got some sponsors, and then the rest is history.
He's young still too as well. He's probably 20, 21.
Yeah, because he was also super young when he started doing really well, 14 or something, I can't remember. So
it's interesting. So that's a naturally talented dude, like, and
Billy, let's screw this news. I have something to say.
No, hold on.
No, it's about the young drivers. So every once in a while, for whatever reason, Billy Easton calls me. Mm-hmm. So he called me. Was it yesterday?
Can we call him to get him on the podcast, please?
Right.
He was one.
I don't know. Next time he calls, then I'm gonna bring it up. So anyway, he said something which was good, and we talked about it, which is, how long are these older guys still gonna race? So if you think about other sports, for example, what tends to happen is, even if you look at Formula One right now, you have Vettel. He is a multi-time world champion. He's still a good driver. Put him in a good car and he can still win, right? But the teams are investing their money in younger drivers who maybe aren't quite as good, but potentially could be the same or better, but because they have a longer future. So right now, Vettel is without a drive in Formula One. Like, he couldn't find a deal with a top team, at least. And he's going to be forced to go to some lesser team. Well, in RC, what's happening is we have all these older guys, Cavalieri, Mayfield, Thibaut, Lutz, all this crew. And they are getting the big bucks and the good deals and getting paid by all these companies. And then there are younger guys who are good, but they don't get those first tier deals. And what that means is we are sort of, because the majority of the money and the good deals are going to these older guys, there isn't a next generation of younger guys coming in because they aren't being given the opportunity to do that. Because at the point where you're 18, 19, 20, you have to make some sort of decisions in your life. Am I going to go get a job, go to school? What am I doing here? So if you aren't getting any deal in RC, you're going to have to spend more time doing something else. You can't just, keep going to the track. You don't have the money to travel to all these races. Do you see what I mean? So you don't gain the experience, the knowledge, and the skills to become one of the elite drivers. Do you see what I'm saying? So instead, if there were some like up and coming young guys, and they were given an opportunity. It's like, okay, you have a decent base salary and you have traveled to all these races. Then they would make different decisions in their life. They were, okay, so I won't get a job now. This can be my job. Maybe I will still study on the side. Maybe I won't study. Maybe I'll do this full time. Whatever their decision is, it's going to be a decision where this young, promising driver now has an opportunity to go for it and become something in RC. But now most of the companies are sticking with these older guys. So there's like this one generation of young kids who aren't beating the guys, partially because they aren't getting the opportunity and the support to 100% go for it to where they can then start beating those guys. Do you see what I mean? So eventually, I guess time will take it. What's that word? Time will take its toll, change priorities in these people's lives, and they will start losing to other guys. But like it's kind of weird actually how that transition hasn't sort of happened. So eventually it will happen, but I think there might be a group of drivers who never really got that opportunity.
Oh, there is a whole group of guys that never got that opportunity. But the problem is that these guys are still winning, but those guys who probably could have beat them never got that chance.
Yeah. So if we think about it, like what's this TLR guy who went to Agama now? He won PNB. Tyler Jones. He is good enough to where, let's say one of these companies had just gone for it. Like, oh man, this guy, he's really good. He could win. He could be the next Tessman, kind of, or Tebow or whatever, right? And just hired that guy, given him a good deal, and then within a couple of years, he's one of the top guys, and he's like 10 years younger. But he hasn't got that deal.
Well, we can use Seth Van Dalen as an example of that as well. Here he is. He's not just knocking on the door, he's kind of kicking the door down right now. And 2021's coming up, and some companies are going to grab him if Tekno doesn't. I mean, I want to talk about this in the PNB recap more, but I actually think Tyler Jones is another one too who can do it. He's in school and stuff as well. But there are two great examples. I would say there are two great examples of guys who aren't being fanboys and they want to be champions. Maybe Seth a little bit more because I don't think he's in school. I think he's working and he wants to do this. He has an awesome track and all this stuff. But if you're a young aspiring racer, maybe these are the two guys you should be following as well. Because Seth's with Tekno. Obviously, Tekno has Bornhorst and Tebow. I don't think they have enough room for three fast horses. Tebow right now is number one. Bornhorst could have probably won that race at PNB. Well, we need to talk about this later in PNB. But Jones, he I don't know what happened in his main, but he went out and TQ'd first round of PNB this past weekend. Unfortunately, he doesn't get to much of the bigger races like he should have been at DNC and stuff like that. But he's in school, so it's hard to do all of that. So yeah, I don't know, man, what we're gonna do. I mean, look at it like Leclerc, Bottas. I think Bottas is still young, moving into Mercedes. Like Vettel's, like you said, and he's gonna be out. Like the people like Leclerc. Leclerc is probably saying his name wrong, but he's aggressive and he's brash and he's bringing interest to Formula One. And that's what I would say to any of these young guys. Like, don't be vanilla and be aggressive and say what you want to do and bring some passion to a hobby, a sport that we desperately need. Bring some charisma to this awesome hobby sport that we do. I really want one of these young guys to do that, and I hope they do. And that will help make our sport more popular. People will get more invested in it. So Billy Easton called you, hey? I need to get him on the podcast, Joseph.
Okay. Next time I'll ask him.
Yes, please do. In fact, you should send him a message after we get off the phone here, after we finish recording. But yeah, well, we have two bits of news before we move on. I see Model X, sorry, out of Spain, are unveiling an RC parts brand. They have announced the formation of the new RC Parts. It's actually called RC Parts brand. RC Parts is a wide selection of radio control products with a value for money that is hard to beat. Among the product line, you can find all sorts of tools, electrical accessories for crawlers, rims, wheels, spare parts for most used crawlers, and other aesthetic accessories, among many other products. The brand allows Model X to offer a larger range of products at a very affordable price to all of our clients. Well, I need you to get on the phone with Roger and tell him I would like some scale parts, please. What can he do? I know you're not into this part of RC, but I am an RC enthusiast, and I'm looking at my scale trucks right now hanging on the wall, and I need to get out and go take them out. Maybe this weekend. So good stuff, RC Parts.
I'll talk.
Okay.
Maybe they need to promote the new brand on the podcast or something.
Maybe they should. We need to talk to him. We need to talk to Roger. Okay, so the other news this week that had everybody talking, I posted it up in the No Name RC podcast Facebook page. I actually debated about doing this. When I read this, I wasn't surprised. I understand. I don't agree with it, but that's his decision at the end of the day. But I was really hoping Lutz would go. I knew Lutz wasn't going to PNB last week. I found out he wasn't going to PNB the week before. He wasn't going. I thought it was all about COVID, which I totally understand. But he didn't go to PNB, and Billy Tylaska didn't go to PNB as well. And I was talking to him, and that was because of COVID. And that's fine. I totally understand that. You know, that's people. I'm cool with that. But then the blog, Ryan Lutz wrote his blog, and you know, look, you guys, I really like Ryan Lutz. I think he's a great man. I respect him a lot, and basically, he didn't go to PNB because, as we all know, Lutz is a devoted Christian, and I have nothing against that. I used to be involved in the church and all that stuff. I used to, all that pretty deep. I understand a lot of things. I'm not into that anymore, but that's my choice. But I respect this choice. I think Lutz is a great dude. But basically he didn't go to PNB because he doesn't like, Dave's got haunted houses, and PNB is all about being psycho. So Dave's got like monsters walking around and girls dressed up that look like gothic looking girls and different. I guess Dave is really good at doing like movie type. What's the word I'm looking for, Joe? Props and stuff like that. So it's all about that, like a haunted house, like just monsters and different types of crazy stuff all around. That's the theme of psycho.
The devil's work,
Yeah, well, it's been the theme since it started, and Lutz has gone to this race for many years. He's done well at this race. So this year he wrote this blog and decided that he's not going because of the demonic theme that Psycho Nitroblast basically promotes. Now, before you go on your soapbox, I totally understand this, because when I was in the church and before like that, people would say stuff like this. Oh, you can't do this because it promotes this and promotes that, and like everything promoted something to do with the devil, or whatever. I was in a religion so strict, we used to. You couldn't watch TV or anything like that from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's kind of the church I grew up as a young kid. Luckily, my mom wasn't in it, but my aunt, she used to send me with my aunt. As I got older, I got out of that. I got playing sports, and that was on Saturday, and just faded out of that. I understand a lot about religion and church and all that stuff. I'm not a follower. Well, I understand what he's talking about. I just don't agree with it, because that's just my opinion. I can respect him and his opinion not to go and why he didn't go and all that type of stuff. But I just He could have just said he just didn't go because of COVID, but he says like I could have just said that, but I decided to say this. So I don't know, man. It's a shame Lutz wasn't there. I think COVID aside, he needed to kind of be there because I mean, let's be realistic. He hasn't had a very good 2020. Didn't make the main at Montpellier. Didn't make the main in Nitro Buggy at DNC. Lutz needs a great performance at a big race. You know, this is his job. Like people have to understand, this is your job. This is your job. Your job is performance based as well. Yes, Lutz is a great ambassador and he does lots of good things and all that stuff. But also results, man. People want results. So if you're not getting the results as well as not doing the, you know, like, well, let's be realistic. Like, look at Mayfield. I want to talk about that a little later, but let's use him for example. Mayfield gets results, but he isn't very active on social media. You know what I mean? But he gets results. Hello?
Yeah, I know.
I wish you would answer instead of waiting. Like you're so far
I'm
away.
buffering.
Huh?
I'm buffering.
JQ needs a USB. I just don't I can respect that he didn't go. I want to see him race because I want Lutz to do well. I like him. I want him to do well. I want it to do well for Agama and Nemo. But man, I don't know. I respect his choice and I respect him to stick to his guns and all that type of stuff. I understand it. I just don't agree with it. So, and it started, you know, there's a big discussion about it after this on the No Name RC Facebook page. So a lot of people were like, oh, you know, a lot of people were chastising him. A lot of people was kind of on me, like me. They understand it, don't agree with it. All the people praising him. I know what you're going to say. So go ahead, make it quick, and don't be so savage.
Well, it's ironic that this happened because last week my rant was about how I think people should make up their minds and then have some integrity and stand behind their beliefs and opinions and, you know, be consistent. And now with this, it's like, well, you can't say anything now because Lutz basically did that. Yes.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's great. But here's the problem. We live in the year 2020. If you are going to be so religious, such a devout Christian, that you believe so deeply in the Bible and all these stories, that you refuse to go to an RC car race because of haunted house theme to the race, then unfortunately it makes you a massive hypocrite. The reason is that you can't take your religion and live a pure, however you are supposed to live in the name of Jesus, in the society that we have created, with all the knowledge that we have. You just can't do it. So you as a religious individual need to draw lines somewhere that this is okay, this isn't, this is okay, this isn't. But it's going to be your opinion. It's not going to be based on some sort of principle that you can logically follow through with. It doesn't work. Maybe back in the day, in a simpler time with less knowledge, maybe it was possible. Most of the things that people didn't know, oh, God did it. Just whatever you don't know, it's basically God. Today, the things that we can still say, oh, that's God, it's becoming less and less and less and less and less. And if you're super religious, then you still hang on to some things which everyone else basically knows, like this is, you know, we have an explanation for this. And then super religious people still say that, no, that we don't accept your explanation. It's actually God. You know, so when you make these kind of you take strong positions, strong stances, and you base them on your faith, it makes you seem like a massive hypocrite. It just does, because it's not, you can't live consistently according to those principles. It just doesn't work. So that's kind of my point of view. So do I have a problem with him not going because of his religious beliefs? No, I don't. Do I agree? No, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's so dumb. Seriously. But do I have a problem with it? Like, no, not really. Doesn't affect me in any way. He can do what he wants. But yeah, it's not, when I say that people should make up their mind and have integrity and stick by their beliefs, and I also mean that you should have like sensible beliefs. That's kind of a key part to it.
Well, you know what, Joseph, man, this comes back to my point that I made. Was it last week when we talked about that? And just everybody has different opinions and different beliefs. I
know, but we have to. Yes, okay. This is an opinion. So I don't want to support this race because it promotes this sort of demonic image. Okay, that's fine. That's an opinion. That's fine. But all the other stuff, like the world is coming to an end and this and that, like, oh my God, like you have to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's a shame. I wanted him to race. He didn't. And, yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, there's nothing else we can say about it, to be honest. So it just is what it is, man. That's his decision at the end of the day. And if his employers are happy with that and they support it, then that's not a problem for me either. It isn't a problem for me, period. But you get what I'm saying. So I just want him to come back and race because I think he can do great. I just think he's still got a lot of speed and he can do he can be fast.
I'll just come out and say it right now. Lutz is going to be the first fast guy not to get a deal.
You think he's going to be like Vettel?
Yep, he's going to be done first.
You shall see.
The next guy after that will be Cavalieri.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll talk about that PNB in the PNB recap because Cav did not have. I want him to do good. I really do. I like Cav. I'm a fan of his. I just want him to get back to where he was winning and doing, and just not even winning, just being in the top 3, more consistent stuff like that. So I think I have a theory about that, but we'll talk about that in PNB, in the PNB recap. Joseph, I think that's all that the news that I have. Do you have anything to add before we go into the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A segment?
Yeah, I do.
What's that?
I have a rant for this week, so we're going to touch on that more there. But there is some news. The RCGP Driven series, episode 1 is pretty much done. So I don't know. It's up to David, but I'm trying to get him to release it this coming week. So next week.
I the 30-second clip that you sent me, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It tells a story. So the whole point of this Driven series is it's 4 episodes. So basically 1 race per episode. And the idea is to tell the story of the series itself. So like behind the scenes and the creating this series in RC. Then the racing in the series. So the racing, the points, the championship, that's on. And then introducing the teams and the characters. So the drivers. Who the drivers are, the tension within teams, between teams, on track, off the track, that kind of stuff. That's what the idea is. So, yeah, it's a big job to get done, and at least episode 1, I think, is really good, and all the footage that was needed existed, and all that stuff. And Matt from Control, he has a plan for the rest of the series, and I just hope he has all the footage he needs so he can tell the story he wants throughout. It's going to be really good. So look out for that next week.
Yeah, I don't think I go a week without somebody asking me, when is the docuseries going to drop? When is the docuseries going to drop? And I think people just don't understand the amount of footage that was captured.
Yeah, and even the amount of footage, it wasn't enough because we're kind of understaffed, because they had to create all those segments for the live show during the day for the race. So there wasn't really enough time to capture the footage they needed for this series, because they had to be in the moment doing their thing. And then all the while sort of remember that, oh yeah, I need to capture all different drivers, all kinds of different emotions from all the different drivers, things on the track, pits, working, setting up stuff. Like they needed all that footage too, not for the moment, but for the future. So it just wasn't possible to get enough of that good footage, but they still have an amazing amount. It's crazy. So yeah, a lot of stuff that when I see it, I remember it, but it's like, oh, I didn't even know that they were in a position to get this footage. So yeah, it's good. I only have one thing. I would ask people to please, when they watch it, share it. Like spread the word, because this video series, this is something that it can be enjoyable for people who have never really been into racing, into RC racing. So maybe they have an RC car, but never really thought more about attending club races or races. But maybe this sort of video could be something which nudged them in that direction. So please share it on your social media. And maybe if we get more people to view it, then they would consider racing next year.
For sure. I can't wait. Well, you know what, Joseph? Speaking of races, we have the Summer Sizzler coming up Labor Day. And hey, we promote races as well. So if you want to promote your race, you can hit us up and we'll do that. So hey, let's hear their advert.
Are you tired of running laps against a clock? Are you tired of qualifying all weekend for a short little main event and cardboard trophies? Well, you better start packing, because your summer is about to sizzle. Scale Racing Sports and BeachRC.com present the newest off-road indoor arena racing event on the East Coast, the Summer Sizzler. If you run 1/8 scale nitro, 1/8 scale e-cars, or 1/5 scale gas, grab a buddy, pack that shit up, and let's go racing. At the Summer Sizzler, we race heads up all the time. A full day of practice, 3 10-minute qualifying races, plus a last chance qualifier. 30-minute main events for all adult classes, and really cool trophies. Whether you're new to racing or a seasoned pro, register now at rcsignup.com or on site. Trackside hobby shop support from Beach Hobbies, free parking, free camping, free indoor pit area, and the largest driver stand and pit road you've ever seen. For more information, follow, like, and share us on Facebook at Scale Racing Sports. The Summer Sizzler, Labor Day weekend, September 4th, 5th, and 6th, Apex Arena, Withville, Virginia. The Summer Sizzler. Grip it and rip it.
Grip it and rip it, Joseph. Thank you to SRS crew for supporting the podcast. Don't forget the Summer Sizzler, Labor Day weekend, and then they have the Blue Ridge Nationals coming up. I'm not sure the date, but I think if things are clear, I might try to get to that. And awesome looking facility, and they're trying to do big things. So we should support them. So thank you for your support. And hey, if you ain't doing nothing Labor Day, go to Virginia and go do some 8 scale racing. And Beach RC sponsors them. And you know what, Joseph?
What's that?
It's time for the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing. JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at beachrc.com today.
Thank you, Beach RC, for bringing the bench racing Q&A segment. Thank you to everybody that sent us questions. We want more questions. Send it to us on our Instagram page, or if you haven't followed our Instagram page, go follow them. Go follow Beach RC's Instagram page. Follow our Facebook page. We want your questions. Beach RC is a brick and mortar hobby shop doing all the right things. They just came back from PNB where they were up there supporting all the racers up there, Brent and Lucas. Really good people. They got their Masters of Dirt race coming up in a few months, which should be great. They have a badass, probably one of the best or the best indoor 10-scale tracks on the East Coast. Some of the best clay you ever want to race on. Go support Beach RC. You can get your NNRC swag from them, hats, shirts. If you can, use our affiliate link. It helps us out. So, Joseph, are you ready to answer some questions?
As ready as I'm going to be.
All right. Eric Morrison, what is the correct way to stop the engine? Plug the exhaust or hit the flywheel? What are the disadvantages or advantages? And does either harm the engine? Either method do any harm to the engine, if any?
Well, I think both are fine. It's not really a big issue. I think maybe in theory, the better way would be to stop the flywheel, like with the end of your shoe or the end of a screwdriver. Some screwdrivers have like a rubber piece on the end for like tuning screwdrivers for that purpose. If you just cover the exhaust, then it kind of floods the engine with fuel and stops it. I don't really know if that's bad either. I don't see that really being a problem either.
I think that might be okay. Number one, never try to do it with your finger. I've seen people try to, especially a
stopping the flywheel. You mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. I do the bump method too with my thumb when it's like when the cars are just idling or whatever. I also do the exhaust plug. Sometimes I feel like the bump method just stops it short, and that can't be too good for like the con rod bearing and stuff. But I've been doing it for years, and I don't see any difference. But I think either method is preferable. But then, like either method, like a lot of guys use their fingers. Like let's be realistic. I use my finger all the time.
I would never use my finger on the flywheel.
Really?
No, because you can, but let's say you hit a rock or something on the track and it scratched the flywheel and there's like a sharp edge on it, then you're going to cut yourself. You can.
Yeah, well, I don't like to use my finger on the exhaust. I need to stop using my fingers anyway because I only have one set of good fingers to use. So definitely those tuning screwdrivers that have the rubber piece is the best thing you could do because the rubber piece fits into the stinger and it also bumps the flywheel. I even think people like make little rubber things that you put on your keychain and stuff like that too. So I don't think there's a disadvantage to either method, to be honest. Just get the engine stopped. Yep. Sometimes I'd like to put it on the starter box and stop it too.
Yep.
Adam Camacho, what's up, Adam? What are Rupert's must-have in his pit bag? First off, let me tell you, Rupert doesn't have a pit bag. He has a muffler box. Oh, I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves with you. I think we actually had a pit bag at RCGP and DNC this year. But man, do you know how difficult it would be when I would go pit for you and you would have your tuning screwdriver, your fucking heat gun, because you have one of those big exogen heat temperature gauges, your glow plug, your starter box in your car, and all we have was like a Reds or now a ultimate like pipe box. That was our pit box, and I'm only got one hand, proper hand, so I'm gonna walk up to the pit lane with that. That's what we used to carry, like literally. I don't think you carry much more than that.
No.
Yeah, I think for big races though, for big mains, a couple of things I like to like. Well, I know he's asking you, but I think you're getting a little better for bigger mains. Definitely a wheel nut. Definitely maybe 2 spare tire wheels and tires, just in case you got tires coming off. You can come and make a quick change. A glow plug is always good to have. What else would you think, Joseph?
Yeah, just glow igniter, tuning, screwdriver, fuel gun, glow plug wrench. That's basically what you need.
Yeah.
And like if you really think
tie
something's gonna fall off, then yeah, the 1.5, 2.5, 5.5 mil nut. You know,
I would say carry duct tape or Gorilla Tape too.
There's not much you can do with that.
Yeah, well, like if we had duct tape or Gorilla Tape when your body post got broken at DNC 2018, we could have bought your car in, taped on the front part of the body, and you could have finished that race.
Been there, done that. It doesn't stay on.
Well, you're using duct tape. Got to use this Gorilla Tape, man. This stuff is strong. Okay, y'all mellow. Y'all, he used to live in Bermuda. Question for JQ. If you watch PNB Pro Buggy Final, why the Tekno cars drivers look much better than others in the whoop section?
Which race?
PNB Final.
PNB? Honestly, I think was Seth somehow better than others too?
I think Tebow was the best through there, but Seth was just as fast, and Joe was just as fast. Well, I think Tebow was the fastest.
With Tebow, it's Tebow. Seriously, I think you give him any car and he will do that. If there's something to the car being good in that kind of section, it could be the fact that they have really long arms and narrow pivots. So what that does is, as the suspension moves, it helps keep everything more consistent as far as the sort of wheel angles are concerned. And I think that also sort of like the geometry rolls into / wheel angles are concerned. It's a sort of stable setup. And also with the long arm and narrow pivot, I always felt that the cars will absorb bumps and landings better. So going through a whoop section, that's basically what you're doing. You're just constantly jumping, landing, not always 100% straight. So the car needs to be forgiving in that sense. And let's say a Mugen, very wide rear pivot, shorter arm. Let's say you land a bit sideways, not quite straight, and then you want to jump and land again. It's not going to be as forgiving. So it might, pitch the car more to one side and you have to correct it as a driver, where maybe with the narrow pivot, long arm, you don't even necessarily notice that because the car absorbs that. You see what I mean? You land a bit crooked, then you jump again and you land again, and you don't notice anything really happened because the car handled that. But maybe on a Mugen with a wide pivot short arm, you would notice that. There would be a wobble. So yeah, I think the fact that it's T-bar, that's already one positive thing because he's good on those kind of sections. But then, yeah, there could be something to the car also compared to the others that he was racing.
Awesome. And I will give I think the guys from the moto background, they love those whoops. And like, it was like watching James Stewart and like Ricky Carmichael going through the whoops there in that section at some points. And Tebow was just more like Stewart. Like he would get that rhythm going through there. Joe would get it. Seth would get it. But then I think they would mess up at the later half, the last half of the whoops, where Tebow was just like, bloop, 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 bloop. And it was just good, man. Michael Norris, what's up, Third World Yankee Shite? What's up? Mike Norris. Oh my God, he's hilarious. Weight distribution. What front and back percentages does Joseph recommend for nitro buggy, and what are the best ways to manipulate it?
I can't remember the percentages, but it's like slightly more weight to the rear on all cars, all 8-scale buggies, I think, at the moment. The further forward you move the weight, the more steering you'll have in hairpins, the more sort of twitchy, nervous the car will feel, low speed. Then high speed, the car will actually begin to push a bit the further forward you go. But also the car will jump better. It sort of jumps and lands really well. High speed, very stable. Low speed, more twitchy, more nervous, more steering. The car kind of feels light and nimble. Then when you move the weight back, the car feels heavier, slower. It's sort of more calm. And for that reason, it kind of could feel easy because it calms everything down, slows everything down a bit. But then high speed, not quite as stable, because instead of a slight push, you might have some oversteer, like the rear might want to step out easier. Like let's say you, with the weight forward, you enter a corner a bit too fast, it kind of just pushes a bit. Weight back, enter a corner too fast, and the rear wants to swing around. So that's obviously not as stable a situation. Doesn't jump as well also, doesn't land as well. And loose, flat hairpin corner, car will push. The rear end will just stick, car will push. So low speed, less steering. High speed, potential oversteer, losing the rear end. Doesn't jump as well, doesn't land as well with weight back. So that's what you're choosing between, basically. And I think that the best way to add weight is not how people are adding weight now. Now what people are doing is they're adding weight like the B block brass or C block brass, or weight right behind the front gearbox or right in front of the rear gearbox. And I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think what should be done is you make the car as light as possible, and then you add a bigger amount of weight, like somewhere between the front gearbox and the center diff. Maybe like right in front of the center diff mount. You add weight there. That's still going to shift the weight distribution forward, which you want. But the mass is going to be central. That's going to be better for the handling of the car. Same for the rear. So right behind the center diff, not right at the rear gearbox. So add more weight and add it close to the center of the car, but to the rear. So I think that's a much better way to add weight. You still get the change in weight distribution you want, but it makes the car still more stable. I don't see too many people doing that, actually.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael, for the question. All right, on to our next question, Josie. All right. Jacob Edwards. He asks, do you think Baby Truggy is going to take off soon? Well, they had one heat of Baby Truggy at PNB. I don't have nothing wrong. I don't have nothing. I know you're probably going to diss it, but I think Baby Truggy is actually pretty cool. It used a stadium truck, wheels and tires and stuff like that. I just think it belongs 10 scale where it is 10 scale. But I mean, it had one heat, one heat, just made one heat at PNB. I don't think that's taken off. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to take off.
It's not going to take off. That's your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it needs more than one heat at PNB to take off. I'll tell you what, E-Truggy is growing.
Well, that's stupid.
Well, hey, it's growing, dude. E-Truggy is growing, and Nitro Truggy is slowly getting smaller. Slowly. Okay, next question. You know what, man? We always get these questions after a race time event. Greg Simpson, I don't think he's talking about race time, but it's about sandbagging. What are your thoughts on people sandbagging so they can be trophy chasers? How can promoters stop racers from sandbagging? We've ranted about this. We've talked about this a few times.
Don't have so many ridiculous classes. That's how.
Exactly.
There's a pro class for people that are sponsored. By sponsored, I mean they get free shit, they get paid, or they just want to race the pro class. That's the pro class. Then there's another class for all other idiots. That's it. Then for local, regional club racing, smaller races, then in addition to those two classes, you can still have, a junior class or a novice class or something like that, for example, or a 40-plus class. I think, honestly, if we want to improve our racing situation here, we need to do away with so many fucking classes. Like the 40-plus class is just a way for people to get more track time, basically. So just make it a main event. Like after qualifying, okay, so the 40-plus guys race a main, Don't have separate practice, separate qualifying for all these millions of different classes. Just organize main events for those guys so they can race for bragging rights and get a trophy, whatever. You don't need to have this. I don't understand how these race organizers don't understand this. Well, I guess maybe they do understand it. They just want the entry money.
No, that's what it comes on to. More classes, more chances to win.
Yeah, you can still have the chances to win by just organizing a main for those guys. You don't need to organize all the fucking practice and qualifying separately for all these classes. Just have them qualifying in one class and then break up some mains. Okay, there's a junior main here, and there's a 40-plus main there, and there's left-handed idiots main here. I don't know why I said left-handed idiots. It just came out. I don't mean that left-handed people are idiots. I just mean that some of the left-handed people might be idiots, and then there might be enough of them at the race so that we could have a class for the left-handed people who also are idiots, So they can all qualify together, then race their stupid mains, and then also race that main open class, whatever. Like, figure something out. Fuck's sake, it's been long enough.
Pretty much, but it's not going to go away because entries are needed. For one, when you have all these big entries, you don't get much track time. So you need track time, and promoters need to make money, and people want trophies. So it's not going away. And how to combat sandbagging in that? Well, promoters are just going to step up and say, okay, well, if you're winning by such and such, you got to bump up. But even then, it's such a slippery throat, a razor's edge. It's boulder. It's just, you know what it is? It's just boulder dash. I've been waiting to use that word for a while. It's just not going to be fixed. We can complain about this forever and ever and ever. It's just not going to change. And it is what it is, man. If you're going to have many classes like this, people are just going to sandbag, and they'll probably sandbag and go slow and then blow people away in the main. Then what you're going to say? Like, oh, take that guy's trophy away from him in the main, then he doesn't come back to race.
I've never understood people who feel good about winning or getting a trophy or something for some meaningless achievement. By meaningless achievement, I mean that if you are sandbagging, it's meaningless to you because you are in the wrong class. Like if I go and race the novice class and I win, it doesn't mean anything to me. Or if I race the open class at DNC and I win the open class, it's not going to mean anything to me because it's the wrong class for me to race. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be happy. Like, I don't understand people who would do that and be happy. Like, yeah, I won. I never understood that kind of mentality, really.
Because
if you're a young kid and it's like your first race and you win novice, oh my God, that means something. If you've been racing a few years and you go to DNC and you win open class or do really well, it means something to you, because that's the best you've ever done. Like, this is it, and then you move forward, then you move up to the next one. So I don't understand that. I can't relate.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But this is RC, and everybody wants to be important. Everyone wants to write that, that race sport that they won. And then it's funny because you see, like, I think it's funny when companies don't mention that it's novice sportsman or whatever class. They just say, "Oh, such and such won at this."
Yeah,
class.
like some Mugen kid won TQ and won some novice class crab race with like 3 people. And then Mugen posted the picture and put a Mugen logo on the trophies where it said novice. Did you see that?
Oh, Mimo buggy. Mimo.
That was so funny. Like, that was a legit post Mugen did, right? Wasn't it like a screenshot or something of it?
Yeah.
So Mugen took that picture and it's just novice class, and they put a big Mugen logo over it so you didn't see that it said novice. And in the caption, it just said that he won some race. So stupid.
Yeah. Oh well,
I bet that's
it is
Team Bump. He used Nitro Haas. He used to work it off now. He works at Mugen now.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Spencer Klein. Actually, Spencer had a really good PNB. He says, no question, but just wanted to thank you for all the support. You're a true man of the hobby. Thanks again. Thank you, Spencer. I have some good things to say about you because you did really well at PNB and intermediate. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But keep up the good work, dude. My buddy, Dejan Painter. Ask anyone who knows where the mystery hats are. I'm trying to get some hats made, and the guy just isn't answering me. I'm trying to get some fitted hat made, one for my big head. I need to get a size 8 made. I'm trying to get one for my boy, and I owe Salty Joe a hat. It's gonna be the all No Name RC podcast hats. So I'm gonna put like No Name RC logo and then put a big Salty on the back or something for Salty Joe. But if anybody knows anybody that's doing fitted hats, not printed, what's the other thing? We embroidered. Let me know because my guy, he's busy and he hasn't answered me. Two private message questions. My buddy from Clint Treadway, 454 RC Works. He has a question. When do you use CVDs or universals? What conditions, Joseph?
Oh, God. You know what? I always almost feel like just wait for the guidebook to be out and read that. I recently wrote this chapter. Basically...
touch on it fast.
There's 2 different things happening. So the technically, CVAs is what we have in 8 scale. So that A is for axle, the ball shape. The CVD, the ball shape is on the axle, and the drive shaft is the bigger part. You see what I mean? How it's built? The drive shaft sort of encapsulates the ball and the axle, and then CVAs, the bigger part is the axle, and then the ball is on the drive shaft, and that's what we have in 8 scale. So CVA is apparently the term that's used. It comes from constant velocity joint. So it's a CV joint. Well, it isn't. In 8 scale or in RC cars, the joints we use and we call CV, they aren't actually CV. They're just a universal joint with more surface area and more friction in it. So it's still a universal joint. It just has more friction and more bind in it. So the difference is really that if you have a car with universals, there will be less bind in the suspension on power. So the force, the friction in the joint will be lower as you are on power, which means that the suspension can move freer. So if you hit a bump on power, it's going to absorb that bump easier with universals compared to the CVAs. Now, where it gets a bit more complicated is then when on our 8 scale cars, the CVA joint isn't in the same place. So what I'm just explaining is when you have a universal and then you replace it with a CVA that keeps the joint in the same location. Now, Kyosho has those. JQ Racing has those. What they look like is basically you assemble the joint and then there's a sleeve, an aluminium sleeve that you slide over it, and that keeps the pin in place. So when you change between those, what you notice is that universal maintains corner speed easier, It feels a bit softer. The car feels a bit softer on power, and it feels freer going around the track. You let off and it rolls really good and get through the corners fast. That's the feeling you have. When you put those CVAs on, it gives the car a feeling of drag brake. That's the best way I could describe it. It gives the car more forward bite, like initial grip. Like the car somehow feels more stuck to the track, but it also feels like it sort of slows down when you let off and you want to go in a corner. So it's harder to actually maintain your quarter speed. It doesn't quite feel as free going around the track. But this is it's not a massive difference. You can notice it, but it's not massive. You can still do the same lap times with both. When it gets bumpy, that's where you notice a bit of a bigger difference. But even then, it's not a massive difference, I would say. Now, the bigger difference comes then when you use the kind of CVAs that we use in 8-scale. For example, on the rear of the Black Edition, we have these optional CVAs that move the joint out into the hub, inside the inner bearing of the hub. So now that actually changes the situation quite a bit. And the reason is because the location of the joint changes. So now I think the type of joint isn't as important here anymore. It's where that joint is. And because it's further out, what happens is it doesn't bind as much anymore. So it actually will drive around the track and feel softer than even the universal. So it won't bind as much. It won't offer the same support. So if let's say you go in a corner and you get on the power and sort of while you're still cornering and you want to exit, the car will squat more on the outside rear tire. The drive shafts won't bind that much. It won't offer that support. So it will actually be softer, even though it's a CVA, because that joint is further out now. So why is this good? Why would you want to use this? I think you would want to use this in situations where the track is very difficult and the traction is very inconsistent, high grip, dusty, low grip sections. It's kind of hard to drive around the track, and you kind of losing the rear end in places suddenly, and you just want to lock in the rear end. That's when you could go to this. So the CVA with the joint inside the inner bearing in the hub, it maintains more consistent traction. You lose a bit of the sort of fast squaring up, accelerating straight. You lose a bit of that snap, but you gain more consistent rear grip, that the car is just easier and more safe to drive around the track. Personally, I use universals front and rear almost all the time. That's just how I've developed my setup. So I think that's why I do that. If I was to start running the CVAs in the rear, I think I would have to rework my setup and find something then that works better with that. But I haven't found anything like that, to be honest. I just like the universals front and rear. So yeah, that's my podcast explanation.
You went pretty deep on that one. I kind of fell asleep, but I understand it. All right, so we have some Instagram questions from Corey Dread 24,000. For JQ, what would you need to gain the speed to make A mains consistently? Would you have to practice with the guys that are fast, that have that speed?
I would have to not run a company and do a million other things and just race. And maybe then I would. I don't know if I would, but much better odds than now. I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't always make the main, but I would.
I don't know if he's asking you
more consistent.
I don't know if he's asking for you or asking for himself.
Well, I thought he was asking for me.
Yeah, it does seem like he's asking for you.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, what you need to do, I think, is first of all, practice more. So there's kind of a number of things, but the three most important things: practice so that you are comfortable with the car. The more you practice, the better. Most people don't practice enough, and not just drive around, but like drive with purpose. Drive 5-minute runs, time them, try and beat your time. That kind of practice. So a lot of that first. Second, know the basic setup things that you would potentially change in a race. So if you have different pistons, know which conditions to use 5-hole, which conditions to use 7-hole, for example. And which springs to use, which sway bars to use, how much to adjust camber, anti-squat, toe in. The basic things, you've driven with all the settings, you know what to change and when to change it. You don't need to go overboard, just those very simple things. So you have those in your toolbox, you know when to use them. And then third, go to the races prepared. So you practiced a lot, and you take a bit of a break for a couple of days, 3 days, whatever. You make sure everything's rebuilt, engine is good, diffs are good, shocks are good, car is good. Everything's set up well, fixed, prepared, tires are glued if possible. Everything's charged up. You go to the race ready. It's a big thing. When you go to the race ready, you set up your pits and you know that everything is done. Everything's ready. You're not worried about anything. There's no rush to do anything. Practice a couple of times in the morning. Everything's good. Engine's tuned well. You're ready. That's when you do well at racing. So there's no real shortcut. Mostly people with very inconsistent results or that aren't performing as well as they could, they don't do those three things. Or they do 2 out of the 3. You have to do those 3.
What's that saying? Piss poor preparation. No, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And what's the other one I like to use? It's about talent and working hard. I have to remember.
I know what you mean.
And yeah, I said it the other day. I just can't remember it.
So,
you need to have all of those things.
Like you can be talent when talent doesn't work hard or something.
Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard.
There you
go. Okay. Dude, what's up, Chase? Gotta have him on a former professional skater. I really want to get one of his skate decks. He races RC and does a whole bunch of mountain biking now. He asks, is there any way to reverse puffing with lipos? You know how you reverse them, Chase? Get a nitro car and run nitro only. I'm only joking. I don't think you can unpuff a lipo. If it's puffed, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have some nitros that are slightly swollen and I still would use them, but you're always taking that chance. I don't think there's any way to unpuff a nitro.
No, a lipo.
Sorry. No. I'd just be careful with it. Enrico Maloney. JQ, we need a YouTube live. I kind of miss you.
Yeah. It's going to happen one day.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some ideas, actually. I got some ideas, Keenan. We're going to have to talk about that offline.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, we need to talk about a few things. We need to get the ISMF ruling and all that type of stuff. So,
IFSM,
right?
No, IFSM.
Yeah, right. IFSM.
There we go.
Here's one last question from my buddy Chuck the Bellin.
Chuck the Bellin.
You ain't gonna know nothing about this, but we all know General Hawk is the G.I. Joe leader.
Oh,
but who's the better second? Oh, I've got to ask the question. Who is the better second in command, Duke or Flint? Both appear to be very capable and similar, but I think the difference is in their side chick. Duke has the fiery redhead with camel toe drawn into the animations, but Flint has that sexy short-haired woman who reminds me of my sugar mama, Jada Pinkett Smith. Personally, I think Sergeant Slaughter could kick both their asses. I don't know. I think Flint is definitely more aggressive than Duke. Duke seems to be like too vanilla at times. He always seems to get captured too. Flint never gets captured. And I don't know, Lady J is pretty aggressive as well. Anyway, that is all the questions that we have for the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A. We've been rambling on for a good bit now. Thank you, Beach RC, for supporting this podcast and bringing this segment to us. Remember, guys, check out our affiliate link. If you can use it, please go ahead and use it. It helps us out. And check out Beach RC and buy something from a man. Great hobby shop, brick and mortar hobby shop. Joseph, did you disappear when I started talking about GI Joes?
I did actually. I'm back.
Okay. All right. You know what, Joseph?
Are we done?
No, because now we have to do the main PNB recap.
Okay.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Tekno RC. Excellence in engineering. Hashtag Tekno Takeover.
Yes, indeed. It was a Tekno takeover at the PNB Pro Nitro race this past weekend. And that's what we're going to talk about. The PNB recap. Disclaimer, thank you to Tekno for bringing us the main interview this week. We didn't have a guest, so we decided to just kind of analyze PNB from outside looking in because neither of us were there. We were both supposed to be at this race when it was in April, but then COVID struck and we didn't go. So,
first of all, before you go on, who filmed the main?
Okay, so
was this live RC or was just some other random person or what?
Unfortunately, nobody's paying live RC to be there, so they're not going.
Okay.
So what it was just, I think they put whoever they can on the camera to film this. This is not a professionally filmed production. It's unfortunate. Okay. It should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been because this is the first big race after DNC.
You know my God, what a shit show. Like, the race is it's pretty decent throughout the race, right? And then the very end, they just complete meltdown. You film Tebow crash on the last lap, then you stop filming him and film like a mid-pack 7th, 8th, 9th battle with Tyler Jones and some other hillbillies, right? You film that and you miss the end. You miss the end of the race, basically. Tebow finishing right in front of Seth, right? Mm-hmm. They were close. And then who got third? Mayfield?
Yeah, but what happened was...
Oh, yeah. Mayfield was in the mix too, right?
We don't even know
exactly what happened. Wasn't it like Tebow's leading?
Mayfield.
Big crash. Mayfield was in second. Mm-hmm. And then Tebow ended up just winning. Seth ended up getting by Mayfield. Isn't that kind of what happened on the last lap?
No. You got it confused.
They couldn't even get it on camera.
You got it confused because Tebow was out front. Tebow actually, he didn't win by much. He won by just under 2 seconds.
He had
he crashed. Let's see.
Over 10-second lead and had a 10-second crash.
Yeah, his last lap he had a crash on his last lap, 56 seconds.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that either.
At the end of the straight. And the guy even filmed it. Like, he didn't really get the crash. See, that's another. He's filming Tebow, then go somewhere else, film some other bullshit. Tebow's crashing. and then he filmed Tebow as the marshal was running. Tebow gets marshaled. Then he starts filming something else.
It's like, obviously, that's where the fucking race is. This guy's leading. He has a massive crash for like a minute. And you're filming the fucking car and slid for a minute. The marshal is running. He gets marshaled. You start filming 7th place. Why?
Well,
I tried strangling the camera guy through the computer screen, but I guess it wasn't live, so I couldn't.
Oh man.
But man, that pissed me off. And then I was trying to figure out, like, what is going on here? Like, where's the loop and how are they finishing? Because it made no sense. Because it looked like Seth's car finished ahead of Tebow. But maybe that was Mayfield then. I don't know what was going on
Right,
anymore.
because remember, Mayfield's running.
I was kind of trying to figure out, like, okay, they're filming this battle with, I think it was like Tyler Jones and those guys. They're filming and trying to look like where would Tebow be? Okay, who's like what? Oh my God, I just couldn't figure it out for the life of me.
Well, the issue is that Tebow's, Seth, and Mayfield's car all got white in them now, so. It's very difficult to tell, but I didn't even know that Tebow had crashed till you just said it, because I didn't see it. And
that's why he lost his big lead.
Yeah, he had a 50-second. He had a 50-second.
Actually, what happened? It looked like he caught up to Tyler Jones. I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Jones, and Tyler wouldn't let him by. And then I don't know, picked a different line. Something happened, like going into that long sweep, but something happened. Like the reason was he
After
caught up to traffic.
Right?
The traffic didn't let him by.
Right.
And that's why he ended up crashing. I don't know if he tried to get by or it flustered him or he had to slow down suddenly or something happened where he crashed. But it was because of traffic. And then the camera guy decided to film that traffic.
Well, Seth was coming, man. If you look at Seth's last 3 laps, 47-2, 46-4, 46-4, 46-4. Seth was coming, and Mayfield. I don't know who that's. I think that's who I got confused. You're talking about over in the sweeper after the straightaway, correct? Right.
Yeah.
So I saw that too. I didn't know if that was Mayfield or Tebow.
Oh, that was Tebow. Where's the video of this? Let's look this up.
I sent it to you. I'm not going to pull it up.
Is it on Live RC or is it on just on Facebook?
It's on Facebook. 2 hours in and that second lot of videos. But anyway, it was definitely confusing. But Tebow won, Seth Van Dalen second, Mayfield third. It was an exciting race. I will say that. And it had many lead changes. Joe Bornhorst was in the lead. I listened to him on Extra Lap podcast. He actually ran out of fuel. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about this race before we get started. So this was a very big race. This is always a big race. 24 hours practice, all that type of jazz. I always say about this race, I like going. I'm glad I'm not racing it because it's just insane. 345 participants, 744 entries, over 16 different classes. I even went in to break down which was the biggest class. Intermediate Nitro Buggy was the biggest class of 89 entries, followed by Intermediate E-Buggy, 78. No, sorry. Sportsman E-Buggy was the second big. Sportsman E-Buggy was the second biggest with 83. Intermediate E-Buggy was number 3 with 78, and Sportsman had 60. Sportsman Nitro Buggy had 60 people. Even the pro class, Pro Nitro Buggy had 55 people. I was impressed with that. 40 plus was down this year. Only 48 in E-Buggy, 49 in Nitro Buggy. Pro E-Buggy only had 40 people. Pro Truck, only 33 entries. Intermediate truck.
What's your conclusion here? I tuned out.
Right. Well, basically, that intermediate is still the dominant class is the most popular class in RC. And it's one of the hardest classes to win, to be honest.
I'm watching Joe Bornhorst blow out.
Yeah, well,
kind of happy.
He didn't blow out. He ran out of fuel.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he did.
He had a moment here, like halfway in or something, where
he
blew out.
He tried to stretch fuel as well. But we're jumping all over the place here. Let me finish what I was going to say. People who say why do we don't have a Nitro Truggy Worlds and all this stuff? Yes, I would like to have a Worlds, but the numbers seem to me like they're going on for Nitro Truggy. I mean, Sportsman 33 entries, Intermediate Truggy 44, Pro truck 33. The E-Truggy had the most Truggy entries, 49. So that side of the class is growing. It was also good to see 21 under 15 e-buggies and 20 nitro buggy entries. So a big race, very big race. Seen some trends here, and pretty good. Let's talk about the track, Joseph.
You know what? I really like the track.
Yeah, I thought it was big, humongous.
I don't think that the intention was for that center section to be a huge double.
Right. It wasn't. It wasn't.
If I would have to guess, I would guess that wasn't the intention.
No, because it was.
But it ended up being one.
Oh.
In my opinion, had that section not been like that, then it would be just, everything would be awesome.
Those guys just figured out that, see what it was, that was actually, they had put incline on that. So the apex of the corner was on a hill and then it went down. So what those guys figured out is that they could jump right over there, cut that big section of track, and land kind of on the downgrade of that grading that they did on the corner, and use it like a downgrade. Wow, some of them were flat landing as well, but it pushed you wide, and it was faster if you got it right. Some guys were coming up short, but man, them guys just hucked it and sent it. And man, I'm surprised more cars didn't break there. No wall this year. I was happy about that. Last year they had the wall. I don't mind walls, but that wall was very, very silly built. It was just like, it was crazy. No wall. They used every bit of space. I must say, I think the track was great. I like the track. I like the whoops. A lot of people didn't like them. At first, the whoops weren't great, but once they wore on, that you could get a rhythm through them.
In my opinion, the track is a bit too big. It's like unnecessarily big. But it still looked really good.
Yeah.
To me. It looked like fun.
They did have issues with those wooden jumps on the double and the triple. I was talking to some of the JQ drivers. They actually started getting holes in those jumps, because what it was guys were coming off the landings and hitting those jumps so fast and scrubbing speed on them. And I think the way they were, I'm not there. I'm just talking from what people are telling me, what I can see from video. It looks like they were kind of they didn't have a lot of concave in them, like a lot of kick up. You know what I'm trying to say here? They were more straight. I think they did that so they didn't send you as high as they could. But I think what happened was that the bumpers of these cars were just, people were getting to those, because now people are just scrubbing speed right on the jump. So you're scrubbing speed right on the jump. The bumpers of those cars are digging into that wood, and they just created a hill. They had to actually patch they had to patch the hills in the wooden jumps. I don't know why they don't just make dirt jumps there. I know the wooden jumps is a thing for PNB, but in that case, I definitely think dirt jumps would have been better, because the wooden jumps actually broke down after a bit, and the dirt jumps would have been softer. You'd have been able to scrub more speed. I just think it probably would have been better in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know. The wooden jumps were kind of a thing when this race started because they were ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The wooden jumps weren't really anything special now here. Like they might as well have made them out of dirt.
Yeah, pretty much. But that was pretty cool. I really like the whoops, man. I'm a whoop guy.
Me too. I think more tracks need to have more of those sections that are technical, where everyone isn't doing the same thing.
Yes.
Where it takes skill and patience and timing to get them right. Not just like, launch this as fast as you can and launch that and double and land wherever the hell you want. And that's boring. It's more technical stuff. That's why even the RCGP, when Anthony built that, I kind of made him make it technical. Like that section where you went over that ski jump thing and then there was a hairpin and you jumped on the tabletop, on another one off, or you jump, you know the one I mean, or you single jump over, on, off. Like there were different ways to do it, but it was just like slow it down, make it technical, so people have to think a bit. And that wasn't really. It was far from perfect, but it was in the right direction. So that we need more stuff like that. We slow the speed down, make it technical. That makes for good racing.
It. And Bobby's always built. I mean, I can think back to Boggy Creek days, and he would have he had a whole straightaway of whoops. And thing, I know people were complaining about them at first, but what it is when they wear it on is when they get good. And by that time, I didn't really watch. Couldn't really watch much of the other mains because they only broadcast the pro mains, pro finals. I think some of the pro qualifying. But man, I just want to. I think that part of the track is what helped Tebow and Seth and Bornhorst all be fast.
Yeah, so I rewatched the end of the race. You know what was throwing me off before also was the fact that the announcer doesn't know what the hell is going on also. He's announcing winner, Tebow, and Tebow hasn't even crossed the line yet. That's why I think. So that's kind of what confused me. Looks like the loop is actually only somewhere later on, somewhere before pit lane. Is the loop even on the straight there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't there?
Hey, do you have the results there?
I do have the results here.
How many seconds behind Seth was Mayfield?
So Jared, Seth, 38, 30, 15.5. 5, just under 5 seconds. Mayfield,
okay, so 30. The loop is right before pit lane on the straight. That's what threw me off. Because on the video, I see 2 cars close together as he's saying that they've finished, which I just didn't understand. But what actually happened was, so Tebow won by a second or something. Not too much.
Chibo 38, 30.13.7. Seth 30.
Yeah. So Tebow wins by a bit over a second after his long crash. And then Mayfield's in second. And Seth passes him at the end of the whoops. You can just see it in the video.
Okay.
And then they are racing to the line, and Mayfield is behind Seth. He's not going to beat Seth, and he clips the line, the inside of corner, flips over. Seth crosses the line. Mayfield gets marshaled. Mayfield finishes. Well, that's actually, you can kind of see it in the video.
Seth and Tebow were just so fast through his whoops, man. And where everybody else.
But yeah, so Seth got it in the whoops last night.
Man, Seth freaking Van Dalen, man. He isn't knocking on doors. He's kicking them the fuck down.
That's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like his attitude too.
Yeah, so you know what's it's going to be interesting now. So Tekno have Tebow, Bornhorst, and Van Dalen. All 3 drivers who have shown that they can win, they're fast, they deserve to be paid and travel to all these races. Now, are Tekno going to have a 3-man team, or is someone going to be left out? And if someone is going to be left out, who is left out?
I know. I was thinking this because a friend of mine, when he said after the Nitro main, Bornhorst was walking back to the pit and it's just like, fuck, screaming, just pissed off. And he has all right to be pissed off. I mean, he was in the lead when he ran out of fuel. And I get it. That's the competition that he wants. He wants to win. That's money on the line. They haven't raced all this time. Yeah. The 3 Tekno cars and those 3 drivers were just faster than everybody in that main. I think the only other really fast person that could have really, if he wouldn't have made some mistakes in the beginning, was Tyler Jones. I don't really know what happened to him. I think he used his Joker lane too soon. But
he was leading. He should have used it second lap. I don't know why he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. He was fast, dude. He TQ'd the first round. I don't know what happened in the second round. I haven't heard, but he didn't start the second round, but he TQ'd the first round. And it was good enough that he ended up starting second for the main. Because they only had 2 qualifiers for this race. That was another thing people were complaining about.
Only 2 qualifiers?
Yeah, 2 7-minute qualifiers.
Yeah, but they had 72 hours of practice.
Yeah, 2 7-minute qualifiers and 8-minute mains.
This is seriously the dumbest race ever.
See, you always gotta be, and then you
track's great, whatever, monsters in the pits, yeah. But as a racer, like you race at 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. and midnight, and you get fuck all for track time or actual quality racing. It's just a mess.
Well, there's a difference between...
I remember when I was there was like no warm-up. You just throw the car down, and then first lap you come by, boom, you're racing. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
The time, that got a lot of people too, was the time, because people just get so excited, like Ashton. Ashton was excited to be there. And I was telling them beforehand, I was like, Ashton, you're gonna get excited. You're gonna want, you think you got 24 hours of practice. You're gonna want to stay up 24 hours, and you think you're gonna be able to stay up all weekend. You're not. Like they had a 15-hour drive because they drove to Fuller's from wherever, Omaha to Tennessee. He was so excited. Then and I've seen this happen. I saw it happen with Bilotti when we went out that year. I've seen it happen with people, just talking to people. You get so excited. You think you're so excited to be there. Like everybody's excited to be to a race. To be, it's so fun to get back to a big race because even just traveling to the race is a lot of fun and all that type of stuff. But you just burn yourself out. And this race does it. I think it happened to Max last year. You have to get some sleep. So... yeah, like 24 hours practice sounds good, but then, man, you race 24 hours, like literally. Like I think qualifying ended on the Saturday morning at like 5. They had 4. They posted the mains at 5:30, and then you had to start racing at 6 Sunday morning. That's no fun for me. I'm just there to spectate and help out. But if I, as a racer, I don't want to be a part of that. But that's what people like. They know what this race is about, so they go there knowing that. That's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. They know what you're going to get when you go to this race. So that's it. Boom.
What about the Joker Lane?
Yeah,
do you think that's a good thing or what?
I think last year the Joker Lane was not in a good place because it's right after the straightaway, but this year I think the Joker Lane made it for exciting racing.
Did it really?
I think so. I liked it because it gave you you could catch up. Like if you had to, but the thing is you had to make that Joker Lane count each time you did it.
I think, why don't they do it so a 30-minute main, you can use it 3 times, but you have to use it once within the first 10 minutes, once within the second 10 minutes, and once during the last 10 minutes. Why don't they do that?
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you. I think it should just be whenever you want. Because you might want to save them to the last bit. Like Drake.
Yeah, but it makes for a worse race. Like it forces you that racing actually to be better if you have to do it more at the same time.
I don't agree with you. I think you should have.
Well, it's demonstrable easily. If 2 drivers of the same pace, one decides to take them in the beginning and one in the end, they'll never race together. It's not a matter of opinion. It's just fact.
Yeah, but then people would have you can have a bad Joker Lane. Like if your Joker Lane wasn't 40 seconds, 41 to like 39 seconds, 39 to 41 seconds, you don't really make up anything.
Yes, you make up the same 9 seconds or 10 seconds every time. It doesn't make the Joker Lane slower because you've crashed your brains out somewhere else on the track.
Anyway,
you still gain the same amount.
I like the Joker Lane. Maybe they can implement it, but then I just don't know. Like, I think enforcing it every 10 minutes is kind of difficult for the scorekeeper too. I don't know if they can actually do it. Think about it. You gotta also, like the RD or the person who's running the computer, you have to also understand that they can't overuse it, and they were having an issue. How
do they know that someone didn't overuse it? Was there a loop on the Joker Lane?
Yes, and that was actually an issue because it was tripping sometimes as well.
Oh yeah.
But on the scoring, they would show like the Joker. The only thing I didn't like about the scoring is you couldn't tell how much times they had used it. Mind you, I know. Yeah, so,
they need to figure that out still.
No, but I think it was good. Overall, I think the track was good. They actually had to put plexiglass barriers up on the driver's stand on the rostrum for COVID. I think I think the RaceTime, I would say that the RaceTime crew, as normal, knocked it out of the park. The one thing I would say, whoever did bloody well hammered on that pipe on the whoop section after that 180 that came apart right there and caused Rivkin the lead at that time. I think he was going for the lead. Like that piece of pipe just came out. Hey, man, if you're going to do a 180 corner with pipe, make sure that freaking pipe goes all the way, like at least 20 feet down the straightaway. Because that joint came apart right there. Like you had the 180, it went 2 feet after the corner, and then 3 feet after the corner, and it was connected to another pipe, and that came apart, and it was just causing trouble for people. But yeah, we can both agree. We liked that the track. Yes, it was a bit too big, probably too big for me, but that's fine. It's meant to be big. I like that it got rough this year as well. Got rough in certain sections. Usually it's smooth. I think that has to do with different time of the year. A lot more moisture in the air, humidity, all that stuff makes a big difference. Hot. That's what I knew people were going to say. I think my buddy Tony said he temped where they were pitting was 110 degrees. That's not fun for me.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah. So it was super hot there.
I think in April, when it's normal, it's the perfect time to go. Perfect temperature. It can get a little cold, but it can be nice too. Wooden jumps, yeah. The main ones where they were using a lot of speed, they had issues. Whoops, we liked. Jokerland, we liked. Overall, I think the track and the effort put in was great. Obviously, the scheduling, the way the races run, it is what it is. That's just how PNB is. It's the only race like this, so that's their theme. That's where they stick by it. Dakota Fenn, after he won Truggy, I just wanted to like pick Fenn to win everything, but I did it. So let's go through our Pro Nitro Buggy main, because that's what we focus on her. So obviously we had Jared Tebow, Stefan Dalen, Ryan Mayfield, Spencer Rivkin in fourth, Adam Drake in fifth. I think Adam actually saved all of his most of his Joker lanes for the later part of the race. Tyler Jones hasn't raced in a long time, comes out swinging. He should have been better than sixth. Spencer Heckert has been quietly putting in work, and he's making these A mains. He's doing well. He finished seventh. Joe Bornhorst could have easily been a Tekno 1-2-3. It should have been a Tekno 1-2-3. Ran out of fuel. That happens. Jared Wiggins made it. Finished ninth. Cole Ogden, disappointed in Cole. I'm very disappointed.
What happened actually?
Let's see. He doesn't have any extra long laps. He does. He has a 61.8, so maybe he flamed out or something. Probably. So yeah, probably flamed out. He had a 61.8 on lap 19. He was in 13th when he did that, so he was already behind anyway. He just was not having a good race. But this is the type of races that Cole needs to do well at. This is his home turf. This is East Coast. This is the races that he should be doing great. I don't know. Does Cole only do well when Adrian and David are on to help him, to push him? But I expect more out of Cole at this type of race, especially on the East Coast. He's used to this type of soil. He's used to this terrain. He's used to these indoor races. He's been doing them forever. I think he should do better. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, Spencer Heckert.
He never really featured.
Yeah, and then I saw him make a post, something about we didn't have the right tires or something like that. You know, it's always tires with these guys, but I just feel I want to see the Cole Ogden that I saw at RCGP chasing down David Runnefelt. Because that Cole Ogden is fast. Not saying he's not fast now, but I think that dude who showed up at RCGP should have been top 3 in this race, top 5, in my opinion. Lee Setzer. Now, Lee Setzer is definitely coming up, is starting to race a lot more nitro and 8 scale. He's a 10 scale only guy. out of Florida. He finished 11th, but making the main at this race is, I guess making the main. A lot of, it's not DNC, but it's good enough. Cole Tollard, 12th. Jackson Brunson, I was thinking he would do better, but he finished 13th. Dakota Fenn, I think Fenn had a flame out. Yeah, he had a long lap, 101, lap 8. I don't know why Fenn's flaming out. He's got OS power. Evan Vale, good showing.
Because it's not the equipment. How about that? I think someone said that before at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Evan
What's
Vale,
that saying? It's not well, is it? It's not the sword, it's the samurai. No, there's some kind of saying like that I always found funny. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Evan Vale, Evan's kind of busy with life right now. He's still racing, but not as serious as he wanted to. And the GOAT, man, Ryan Cavallari in 16th. Man, well, his first lap, he flamed out. So he had a 102. And then he had multiple flame outs, it looks like. So I don't know what's going on with Cavallari, man. You know what I think what's going on with Cav? I'll be honest with you. At AE, he had that support system, man. And it's just not there with S-Works. Not in America. Maybe if he's in Europe, it'd be a little bit better. But in America, he just doesn't have it.
Well, he's running a car that no one basically runs and tires that no one basically runs.
Mm-hmm. But then again, he can run.
When I say no one, I mean no one of his level.
Right.
Sort of.
But he can run.
Car and tires, no one's running them.
But I'm pretty sure he can run whatever tires he wants, like if he doesn't have them at some point.
Yeah, but I think
it comes down to the car, man. I think he just doesn't have that support. When you had AE, you had Richard Saxon, you had Brent Thelk, you had all these guys, and all this. This is another thing people don't understand, why Tekno was good at this race. Tekno had 3 guys, 3 different racers running 3 different tire companies. Jared on AKA, Joe on Proline, and Seth on J Concepts. Then they had all these dudes running, intermediate and sportsmen, and so much feedback because Tekno pit in that air condition, they have that private air conditioning room, they're all pitted in there. It's so much information being passed, so much information from the different tire companies being passed through to these guys, right? That it's just, that helps. I don't care what anybody says, that fucking helps, and that's why they had a great show.
I think there's 2 things. Yes, that does help. It does help when you kind of know what tire to run and you know what setup to run and what changes to do. That's one thing, yes. And maybe when you're alone and Cavallari isn't like a setup wizard or anything, So yes, that's one thing. But I think another thing also is in 8 scale off-road, confidence actually is a big thing. And this track was massive, bumpy, difficult. You had to be confident to go fast on this track. So all those small things when you're like second guessing and questioning and not sure, that affects your confidence on track also. And when you aren't then super confident, 100% like killer instinct going for it, then mistakes happen and you hit bumps wrong, and it's just such a fine line between going fast, hitting your marks, doing everything right, and then just being a bit off and then spinning out and crashing and casing jumps and just being off. It's a fine line, and it's not a less talented driver like me, for example. I can notice this so easily. I can go to a track, I can go on the driver's stand and drive, and I'm like fucking all over the place. I'm like, fuck, what the hell? I come off, fill up, go back up, like focus again, and then I'm nailing everything. Like, it's such a small difference, a small adjustment in your mind and your focus and your driving can make a massive difference on the track. And I think that's also a part of it. Sort of a lack of confidence because of those things that you mentioned.
Yeah, I think that, and just not having I think he just needs that plus just needs that support
So
network.
wait, to let me conclude, like, why did I say that? I'm saying it because I don't think that the tires aren't good enough. The raw speed tires. I don't think that the S-Works car isn't good enough. I think they are good enough. I just think that maybe he isn't getting the most out of them because he's alone. Need 2 qualifiers in the main, like you can't really test too much there. And B, maybe because he isn't getting the most out of them, he isn't in the most confident mindset going into the racing. And that makes a difference on this level. So it's those things combined, I think.
For sure, man. By the way, happy belated birthday, Kev. It was your birthday going into this. If he listens, which I highly doubt he does. But yeah, it's a shame. No, it's a shame that he doesn't. I want him to do better, man. I want him to do better. And I don't know what it's going to take to do that. Confidence. I can't give him confidence. That's something. What are you doing? Stop moving, making noise.
Yeah.
Speaking of falling off a little bit. I mentioned this to you. Mayfield isn't blowing people away like he did previously.
Mayfield was like 2 seconds away from the win, basically.
Yes, but he isn't getting out from... Okay, well, it's only been 2 races this year. So he isn't getting out, like... He isn't Mayfield dominating at any... Like, not saying he's getting slow. But do you think maybe we're seeing a change in the paint to white because he can't, he needs it to see better at night. Obviously, he's running it more now.
Are you saying he needs glasses?
I think he might need glasses, yes. I don't know. Maybe he's been checked already, or maybe he wears glasses. I don't know. Are we seeing maybe something off in his program, or are we just seeing people getting better?
No, I don't think so. Where did he finish at BNC?
Third,
yeah. So a couple of bubbles wrong, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we still consider.
I would
still like. I have Mayfield.
Until he crashed on that last corner, basically he was 2 seconds off the win.
I guess
Tebow had a long crash there, but I'm sure Mayfield crashed too.
I guess what it is I'm just so used to him just dominating, and maybe that's why I feel that way. But yeah, maybe just hey, it's hard racing, dude. First time back racing, really. Tebow has been racing a lot.
He didn't really have the pace either that these other guys had in the main. He was kind of off the pace a bit, but good enough to get, third this time. But if Bornhorst didn't flame out, he would have been fourth, probably. So, yeah, he was a bit off the pace at this race, but I don't know. I wouldn't really.
Right. I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying, just not dominating like he was. I'm not saying that he isn't. He's probably going to come out swinging the next race. But I think, well, let's talk about Tebow and this resurgence that he has. Second at DNC, first here. I can't remember what he did at SI.
Yeah, this demonic event. It's amazing.
Yeah. Tebow has found his second win, man.
He's doing better than he did with his Kyosho than last year. Yeah,
yes.
With this new Tekno. So.
Most definitely. Definitely a resurgence for him. It's good to see. And he's showing that. I think, I would also say this. Cav and Mayfield are both new fathers. Trust me, we all have children around the same age. My daughter is stressing me the fuck out. Like you just don't get it. You don't understand. If I was home recording this, I would never get this done. It'd be so much noise going on. It'd be crazy. Tebow has had more practice at being a family man. He had children early. He got 3 children. Maybe that's now like he's going through that phase that maybe Mayfield and Cav are going through right now, having kids.
Yeah, I'm sure the focus changes a bit. At least momentarily now. Yeah. The first year or two.
But so. I definitely don't think like Mayfield's still top 3, one of the top 3 drivers in the world for me. Cav, man, I want him to get back on pace. I really do. I don't know how that's going to happen though. Only he can do that. Pro E-Buggy, Dakota Fan wins. Like you say, well, he wins. Dakota Fan, Rivkin, Tyler Jones, Seth Van Dalen, another great top 5 for Seth Van Dalen. Mason Fuller, young kid. Cole Ogden 6th, so he could do it in E-Buggy. Joe Bornhorst 7th, Jared Tebow 8th. Dylan Caldwell out of Texas 9th. Adam Drake 10th. Phi Long, I think this is a good thing. Little Phi Long, 9 years old, makes the A-Main in Pro Buggy, finishes 11th. Cavallari 12th, but he didn't finish the race. Evan Vale, Jackson Brunson. Mayfield broke first lap. Broke 8 minutes, 57 seconds in. Jared Wiggins. Fend, we always know Fend is probably going to win E-Buggy because it's a short race.
What was top 3?
Fend, Rivkin, Jones.
Okay.
So Jones had a respect for
the E-Buggy guys, except Jones. But.
Mason Fuller making E-Buggy was good too. Pro Truggy, Dakota Fenn. Now this is when I almost went on Facebook and said, Fenn's going to win everything. But I just hesitated. He did win E-Buggy, he did win Truggy, but he didn't win Nitro Buggy. So I hesitated. But we have Fenn, Bornhorst, Rivkin. Bornhorst, no surprise there. He is a Truggy specialist. Rivkin had a quiet but solid PNB. 4th in international in 4th in Nitro Buggy, 2nd in E-Buggy, and 3rd in Truggy. That's a solid PNB. Jared Tebow 4th, Mayfield 5th, Cole Tollard 6th, Drake 7th. I think Drake had to bump up to this race too. Spencer Heckert, another quiet performance, 8th. Mason Fuller, 9th. Congratulations, Mason, another young racer making that race. Your good buddy, Anthony Westergaard. I think you and Anthony should race Truggies from now on. I think you and Anthony should just do your competition in Truggy. Because then I think you actually have a chance against him.
No.
Yes.
How about that?
Tyler Hooks, 11th. Ryan Cav, done in 12th again. Jackson Brunson, Seth Van Dalen, he didn't finish his race. Jared Wiggins made all 3 mains too. So solid performances from everybody. I would say, obviously, Seth Van Dalen probably. Tebow won in Nitro Buggy, so he wins. You know, that's the creme of the creme there. But solid performance in Truggy for Dakota. But Rivkin was silently there the whole entire weekend. Rivkin has definitely stepped up his 8-scale program. He's been putting a lot of work in, and it's paying off, wouldn't you say?
I would say.
All right. I know that none of that interests you, but just had to bring that up. Okay, 40 plus. Now I'm waiting for the 40 plus guys to start complaining about this, but Adam Drake pretty much won it by 40 seconds over Paul Ciccarello. Gary Stute, Gene Hickerson, another person that went to this demonic race. Bryce Beaver. I meant to say that a good bit of the California, this race attracted people from all over America, and it was good to see a lot of the SoCal and California guys go to this race, like Jose Alvarado, Ryan Reese, Cody Thompson. These guys are all regular SoCal racers. I've never thought I'd see come to the East Coast. They came over. Bryce Beaver, he's from up NorCal. He came and raced. So it's good to see these guys coming over and race on the East Coast. I wish we could get this East Coast, West Coast beef going again. But Adam Drake, no surprise there, wins 40 plus. I know that the 40 plus guys were kind of pissed off about him racing at DNC, but it looks like Adam Drake is going to race 40 plus at all these big races now.
Of course, it's more track time. It helps a lot.
Yes, as well. All right. Special mention. As we talked about intermediate was the biggest class. So I have to mention this young man because he actually won. And I have to, before I go in any further, congratulations to Joey Bardon. He actually won the bet from the RC Youth Conference. He was the best finisher out of the pro guys. It was Joey Bourdon. Cody actually finished last. All of them made the B main. All of those guys were racing each other in the B main. Cody pulled a shock end, and he was fast, but he pulled a shock end. So Cody finished last. I think Cody has to pay for the go-kart rental or whatever they did. But Joey Bourdon, he actually won the bet. I have to send him a hat. I haven't forgot about you. Congratulations. Thanks to those guys for coming on. Yeah, he did well. He did well. Another Tekno driver. That just shows that the Tekno cars were good at this track and just great altogether. But this young man, Spencer Klein, I think he's like 11 years old. I believe this was his first ever big race. First ever big national race. He's out of Oklahoma, races a lot in Texas, races regionally. He's probably been to I'm not sure. I've talked to him a lot. Great kid, loves the podcast, has a badass setup in his bedroom for all his cars and all that stuff, really good. His dad, this nice guy. They kind of, I think he has like a little online hobby shop, Spencer, and he sells stuff. And basically, I think he's paying for his own way to do these type of things. So his parents wanted to pay his way. Obviously, they probably help him, but he's paying for his way. He loves RC. I have to shout out to this young man because he won the Ironman competition. He ran actually 5 classes. He might have ran more, but he ran 5 classes. He made the A mains in all of his classes, besides E-Buggy, where his dad was telling me that his ESC was having ESC issues. But he won he TQ'd Open Nitro Truggy, won it. He started 4th in Open Nitro Buggy and won it at 1 o'clock in the morning. He TQ'd under 15 E-Buggy, finished 4th, and he finished 3rd in 15 under Nitro Buggy. This young man did really well for his first race out there, and I want to congratulate him. And for me, he's a super nice young man, and the future looks bright with young guys like this coming up. Hopefully, he sticks it out in RC and makes something of himself here. But congratulations to Spencer Klein. Good job. Great stuff. But man, I really felt bad for these intermediate guys. They started their race at like almost 1 o'clock in the morning Sunday. Didn't race all day. Well, some of them did. But like Ashton, shout out to Ashton Abdul. He went first time going to PNB. He missed his E-Buggy main and in the morning because he had E-Buggy. He had issues with his ESC and motor all weekend, so he qualified dead last. He probably he needed that track time. He needed that track time to bump up. But he didn't go on the track all day, and he went in, and 6 minutes into his race, he broke a shock eyelet, and he stayed out there the whole time, ended up finishing 9th. But, man, just shout out to these guys. They were the last race. I couldn't imagine racing at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would be in there all day. But, yeah, just shout out. Great. I think it was a great comeback. Great event, Joseph. First race, big race after COVID. It was great to see, like, the obligatory... I'm on my way to PNB posts and all that stuff. And it made me want to be there. But I'm also kind of glad I wasn't there because it was hot as a mother. Yeah, it was just so hot there. Obviously, I couldn't, but I would have liked to have been there anyway. And kudos to the RaceTime Entertainment guys for putting on this race because I know it wasn't easy. They had to follow a lot of rules. They were very strict about that. The code, like social distance inside the building, from what I was told, inside the stadium, like 6 feet distance. You had to wear a mask. They had hand sanitizing units all over, the plexiglass in the rostrum. So they went the extra mile to make this happen. It happened. They gave us some entertainment for this weekend. I just wish it would have been better coverage. I really wish Live RC could have been there.
You know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. Why wasn't there better coverage?
I don't think
there's a simple reason for that, actually. It's because we all want to do our own thing. Everyone wants to do their own thing, and no one wants to do something that, helps everybody. Everyone thinks having their own Facebook fucking videos and just doing their own marketing, that's going to somehow keep the sport going or improve the sport. And I just don't buy that. It's not going to happen. We're too small. It's not going to work. In the past, we had great coverage. Neo Buggy, Red RC. They go to all these different races, Live RC too. So whatever the big race, you would always have coverage, like unbiased coverage in a sense. You'd have photo galleries. You could read about what happened, and you could watch videos. We don't have that anymore as much. It's getting less and less. And the reason is that all the companies in RC, instead of supporting these media websites, instead of advertising on them, instead of sponsoring them to go to races, they now do their own thing. But when they do their own thing, they just focus on their drivers and do a bit of live video here and a bit of a blog post there, and they don't sort of report on that event. So now this is like we're doing this to ourselves. We will have more and more races where we can't. This was actually better than previous years, right? Because they actually had someone filming the main.
No, they always have this. Dave does this.
Really, the last years it's just been one stationary camera, and you see tiny cars going around the track.
No, they always do this for the pro mains. They do it at all the races, all the RaceTime races.
Oh, okay, only pro main.
Right, but it's just. I think they did Open too. I wasn't awake to watch Open. But they do. So, but it's just one camera, and
that's one issue. We won't have those. We won't have Live RC at as many races as possible. We won't have Neo Buggy, Red RC, and all that stuff. We won't have all that good coverage from as many races as possible because those media companies can't afford to go to races. Everyone is now doing their own social media, and this is just how it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to say, Joseph. I don't know what to say. Anyway, dude, I don't really have much more to say about this race. It was great to happen. Congratulations to all the winners. Congratulations to Tebow, Spencer, all these guys who done well at this race. Seth freaking Van Dalen. It was just a great race. I enjoyed it. Even though it wasn't the best coverage, I enjoyed it. It was exciting to me. We hadn't had it in a few months, and I enjoyed it. All right, dude. We have the story time coming up here next, and then we have a JQ Racing Rant.
Yeah.
NNRC listeners, are you currently having trouble trying to get the power down to the ground? Well, don't you worry. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has you covered for all your RC tire traction needs. Whether you race on carpet, concrete, dirt, loose, dry, slick, or high grip surfaces, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic cures for traction. Benefits of using Papa Willie's Tonic Traction is going to be more traction, long-lasting, light tire wear, sweet scent, clean application, fast acting, fresh fill. Papa's Willie Traction Tonic is also safe on foam inserts and does not deteriorate tire glue. Find and follow Papa Willie's Traction Tonic on Facebook and Instagram. You can also visit them at www.papawillies.net. Use the promo code NNRC at checkout for 10% off. Prepare for victory with the one and only Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Welcome to episode 82. This is the RC Gypsy Tales. We have a special guest joining us this week. It is a legend. They call him the legend. They call him Showtime. I've heard so many awesome stories about this dude. I'm happy to finally get him on here. He's going to help me give some shit to Joseph. Welcome, Mr. Adam Lewis.
Hey guys, how's it going? Legend, dunno. I mean, yeah, we attracted some attention over the last few years, but not so much recently. So, but yeah, had some good times.
I'm sure.
Hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, and of course, Beeker is joining us as usual for the RC Gypsy Tales. Say, Beeker, what's going on? You happy to talk to Adam again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's you son.
Always happy.
As excited as a constipated sloth.
That is his excited voice.
Yeah.
It's the same as his disappointed voice or his exuberant voice or his unhappy voice. It comes in one tone, Roll Bartek. He's quite robotic.
Oh, this is going to be funny. I can tell already. Before we go on any further, I want to talk about our sponsor that brings us the RC Gypsy Tales. It's www.robsoil.com. Robsoil.com has got everything you need for your AMSOIL needs for your vehicles. You can just simply go to the website, order them, and have them shipped to your house. We have to do that, Joseph, coming up, because I don't want you hear you complaining about the janky JQ van breaking down. So go to www.robsoil.com and order all your AMSOIL products and get it sent to the Ghani's house, Joseph. And you know why you should use AMSOIL, Joseph?
I've got no idea, but I think you'll tell me.
Yes, of course I will. Because AMSOIL makes top quality synthetic lubricants for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, four-wheeler, snowmobile, lawnmower, fifth scale cars, RC boats that run on gas engines. AMSOIL has it covered. AMSOIL lubricants are designed to help your equipment run at peak efficiency and last longer. Join the millions of proud AMSOIL users to experience the difference. And why should you support Rob's Oil? Well, Rob and his son are avid RC racers. They love the podcast, and they have bought you the RC Gypsy Tales. It's a funny part of the podcast. We're going to have some epic stories coming up, but I think this is going to be a very funny story coming up with Mr. Adam Lewis. So thank you, Rob's Oil, for sponsoring this.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Because Joseph was pissing and moaning about getting a sponsor for this story segment, right, Adam? But when I tell a story, he doesn't remember anything.
Yeah. Actually, when we mentioned the robotic voice thing, there was a bit of an incident in Oslo, Joseph. Do you remember we walked past those dudes by this train station? And we were talking? Yeah. Are we allowed to use the word that you used on this podcast?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, begins with an F, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, we're at the Nordics in Oslo, 2008, and there are these dodgy, crusty sort of drugs dudes hanging by the station, probably waiting to rob people. And we were just chatting amongst ourselves, and Joseph said in his mildly robotic voice, "You fucking idiot," to one of the guys we were with. And this, lunatic said, "What did you fucking say to me?" And rather than say, like anyone normal, "Sorry, mate, wasn't talking to you," Joseph turns around and says to him, "I said, you fucking idiot." Well, obviously, these blokes have gone fucking mental, and I think we had to run away, and they ripped a bin out of the ground and threw it at us. So, yeah, sometimes, someone asks you a question, you may not need to answer it quite so robotically. That was a lesson he obviously hasn't learned, because every question you ever ask him gets a robotic answer ever since. So,
but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. Joseph, I've got some questions about the car. I want to talk about anti-squat. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. What do you reckon? Oh, wait, that's a little bit too long. Yes. And then that's it, goes offline. And you're like, fuck's sake, man. What's that all about?
Oh, my God. Thank you for coming on the podcast, because you know my pain when I deal with this dude.
Yeah.
It's worse when you text him.
Oh, yeah. I've given up on that. Yeah.
You know what's so funny about this, right, is that so many people on the team would message Joseph, because, on his Facebook Lives, he doesn't shut the fuck up. And, on Facebook, when he's arguing, he doesn't his own Facebook no more, thank God. But when he's arguing politics, he'll argue for 8 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But when you ask him a question and you're expecting a very, detailed answer, no, that sucks.
Or it's a multiple part question, and you just get yes. You're like, which bit? Which bit yes? I've asked you fucking 7 questions. Which bit yes?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So,
but no, it's other than that, mild robotic communication issues. Fine. Yeah.
So, let's start off when you guys actually met, because you're from the UK, Joseph's from Finland.
Yeah.
How did you meet this crazy Finnish idiot?
We met at a race in Norway, one of the Afra GPs. They're like a little series of races around Europe that, countries that want to host them. They're actually pretty good. Probably, it's like a sort of, it's like a European Championship. It's an international thing, probably much like RC's done, but bigger and better. It's, they're good meetings. They're we enjoyed it. Anyway, Joseph was pitting with us. And, we just got chatting to him. And I guess no one else, wanted the 3 robotic words a day, and we put up with it. We, went to a restaurant and got talking, and he sort of mentioned he was sort of building his own car. Had quite a sensible chat. I mean, although my driving's a bit average, I'm from an engineering background, and I do understand the cars reasonably well, and I can, bolt them together well. I know what needs to go where and, how things work, sort of thing. Jess, good driver, quite technical, good with his setup. I would have reasonably competent technically, but he did have a funny conversation about a suspension arm, what shape it was going to be, and we're like, it doesn't fucking matter what shape it is. It's one end to the other. You can have a zigzag if you want. It's just the relation of the length, for a top arm, for instance. So, but he was good with his testing, very methodical and consistent, and he certainly helped in the early days. Oh, bulletproof, yeah.
Bulletproof Jess.
So yeah, we basically met in Norway. No car then. Chatted a lot over the winter. Met up again. Funnily enough, in Norway again in the spring for the Nordic Championships in Oslo with the robotic bin throwing incident. And a week before that actually we met again. It was in Crete at the Euros warm up, which was good. And that's obviously when Joseph tried the Hong Nor with the Zero Kingpin front end of a Velocity on it. And all we had then was stickers, of course. Didn't have T-shirts till the Nordics. So, yeah, everyone's car went out. Neil Cragg, people like that. They all went out and they had a nice little JQ sticker on there. Mark Davidis, who came over with AKA when they were just starting to do their tyres, he had a JQ sticker on his car. So, the takeover started quite a long time before people were really aware of it.
Was that your idea, Adam? Was it your idea to put stickers on everything?
Well, if you're going to be a bit of a liberty taker, you just go around and pop the stickers on there. So, I mean, I'm surprised I even managed to, get up in the mornings because, I was out drinking till like 4 a.m. every night, and I was one of the first ones up in the morning, but that isn't something I actually can do anymore. So alcohol took its toll on me, and it's not my friend anymore. So, yeah. But, yeah, I used to have the odd drink at racing all day, every day. Yeah.
Hey, so he also got a nickname in, you was telling me, in Crete. Let's talk about that. Oh,
yeah, Crete. Well, Crete was a bit of a disaster because when we went to go home, we couldn't get a taxi because there's a fuel strike. Then we got to the airport, and the airport had cancelled our flight, and we had a connecting flight going from Athens. And the only flight going out that day was already on last call. So we had to get on there, and they just sort of shoved us in the back of this funny little plane. And I don't know why, but Jess, Chris and Joseph Bollocknose for whatever reason. There's a photograph of him in the plane, actually, with his nose looking particularly bollock-like. But, yeah, and it's like an unfortunate nickname that it sort of stuck with us. It didn't, take on universally, which I'm sure Joseph's fairly happy about. But obviously there's a guy I used to race with regularly, Rob Razy, or Flanders or Hollywood, whichever persona he is. And, once he gets hold of something like that, it's bollock nose this, bollock nose that, here a bollock nose, there a bollock nose, everywhere a bollock nose. It's fairly profound.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have multiple nicknames for Joseph, too. Beaker, Rupert, Juggernaut, Uncircumcised Heathen. Many names for him. And he just calls me.
Well, if you've only got a little one, you don't need to be chopping the end off it, do you? He looks where it's cold. It needs his little hood to keep himself warm.
Joseph, you're going all quiet over there, baby carrot.
Yes.
I'm just listening.
Are you listening? Are you embarrassed yet?
No.
No, you don't get embarrassed. Bad. That's a good thing. Joseph,
robots don't have emotions.
So tell us.
Interview at Neo. Joseph's been interviewed. RC Racing TV. The guy asked him loads of questions about, he's in the USA last week, he's in the UK this week. Different temperature, different track, different people. What's your thoughts? And he said, I had my first shit in the UK this morning in his robot voice. I mean, that's a particularly good one, wasn't it?
You didn't say that, Joseph.
I remember that. Yes, I did. I wonder if that video is somewhere.
Yeah, I think they put the whole interviews on YouTube, didn't they? And it'd be there. I had a good shit.
Oh my gosh, this is epic. Now I know where Isherwood gets his robotic imitation of Joseph from. It's you.
Yeah.
He always does it.
Yeah. Because normally, Ishwood, he talks, quite posh, doesn't he? He's fairly well spoken. I mean, there is a confusion that's sometimes made. He potentially won't want it mentioning. I know, Keenan, you had your suspicion about Ish when you first met him.
Yeah.
You didn't think he was posh. You thought he may be something, slightly more,
well, I don't know,
than
man.
posh, but yeah.
It's all about washing your clothes in the shower when you're on safari with David.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd go in the shower with my clothes, but then if I had a tiny penis, maybe I would want to cover myself up as well,
Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Joseph, so you guys kind of spent the next couple years, that following year, kind of traveling around Europe, going to certain races. Adam, he showed up to Jess's house with a box full of parts. Talking about we have to build a car out of this.
It wasn't, this was the test cars. There was the one complete car, which was the one for all the magazine photos and everything. And then there were the test cars, which were a bit of a mishmash, Sometimes some of the shock towers weren't anodized or they were slightly different, holes drilled in there. There were a few differences, but it was, ultimately, pretty close to the first edition of the car when it came out. And I think I was the first person to use one in competition, with a live transponder in the UK. There is a benefit to being put out in the lower heats, of course. So, I wouldn't say I beat the crap out of it, but it's, it took some punishment and it didn't break. And I think I bumped as well. So, the car seemed pretty good. I really liked the first editions of the car with the Zero Kingpin front end. It was a bit lively, but you didn't have to push it. You just had to sort of drive it, and it was just fast. If you just concentrate on getting it round, the car was actually fast. I always find if I try pushing, that's when I start crashing. And but obviously the newer cars are safer in corners, and they are a lot better for pretty much everybody to drive, easier. But when we showed people the car, sensible race in the UK, top boys, they had a look at things, the way the front shock tower slipped in around the shape of the top of the gearbox, which would strengthen it, from being banged upwards from you could tell it was like he had some thought and sensible design touches in there. Although people didn't like to admit it, they were quite surprised and impressed with a lot of the car. The engine as well, it was the best OS you could get at the time. Other people bought them. Bullet tried some. They had the wrong carburetors in theirs. It was the best version of the OS available then. And some people say it's probably the best one still now. It was good.
People are always asking for the engine, Joseph, but I know you're not going to make another one. But yeah, good stuff. So you guys attended a lot of Neos together. What was Euros as well? Can you tell us, I just want something hilarious from one of the Euros that you and Joseph done, you and Bullet. I need to meet Bulletproof Jest.
Well, Bulletproof sort of disappeared fairly early on. He was around for the car's debut in 2010. I think by 2011, he had probably stopped racing. He is going back to the racing now with his sons, or one of them in particular is going quite well, but I think he's unassociated. Why he didn't come back to Joseph, I don't know. Perhaps, he thought he got the answer phone when he spoke to Joseph when he phoned him up or something. It could have been something as simple as that. But yeah, he's very much a go for the deal sort of person. I suppose they had a whole range through the distributor they go through. Maybe he had tyres, fuel, all sorts of stuff as well. I don't know. But, why would you want to run for anyone else? I don't know.
Tell us about the time that he wouldn't let him stay at his house or something like that.
Yeah, which is a bit strange. I didn't have any room in mine at the time, so I had people at home, because Joseph has stayed at mine a few times. But yeah, he made him stay in a hotel down the road. But he had Rapey Kim staying at his house, which is weird. So I said, "Why didn't you?" I said, "What are you doing with Joseph? Why are you stuck him down the road in a hotel?" He goes, "I ain't having him in that fucking house with that big bollock nose scaring my kids. But you'll have a rapist in there anyway." We don't know if Rapey Kim really was Rapey. It was a nickname. He had mad staring eyes. He drove a lorry. He was out on the road. It was probably easy to dispose of bodies, that sort of thing. We don't know. But then, of course, back in the early days, obviously, we did speak about this earlier when we had a bad connection. The first batch of plastics, weren't brilliant. You could boil them, make them a bit more flexible. They worked fine, but, people were breaking arms. We had a few arms break. There's a couple of air bubbles in there. The plastic's been absolutely fantastic since the second, revision. But the early ones are breaking. Kim's at a race with Joseph, falls on the pit lane, breaks his arm. Everybody was loving it, weren't they? Not only do the cars break the arms, the fucking people do as well. You couldn't make it up, could you?
You broke Rapey Kim's arm, Joseph?
Everyone had a field
Well,
day.
he broke it himself.
How did he break? Did he slip and fall and just or what happened?
Clips a pipe.
No, I mean, how did
Yeah,
Rapey...
He fell on the pit lane. I think he slipped on the downslope of the race pit lane running to get the car. I mean, the engine must not have been tuned right because it must have stopped, I'm guessing.
Oh, my God.
No, it was the semi-practice, so I just went out.
Oh, yeah,
during
just get some
runtime,
fuel. Yeah. Yeah, but, it was an unfortunate incident. I mean, I haven't seen Kim or heard from him for a while. I don't know. He probably only gets one phone call a week, maybe, and, I don't know who would use that for. Assuming he, I mean, I hope he's not.
Hey, did you ever get over to America with Joseph,
Been
Adam?
raped by him, but I might have been a bit big. No. When I spent a lot of money in 2008, and then we had a bit of a recession thing in the UK, and we ended up losing our jobs a couple of years later. And I burned through a lot of money when the travelling I did. I mean, I know we did a couple of meetings in 2008 that Joseph didn't go to. We did the Robitronic one in Frankfurt. We were going to do a later one in Spain. I did a 10th electric race in Belgium as well. So we sort of I did quite a lot of racing abroad in that year, and I basically did all my money, and that was it. So.
Oh, man, I think it would have been so.
Yeah.
I would love to get you, Joseph. Can you imagine Adam, Degani, and Smoker? The stories that would come out if we got all three of them together. Then throw me in there with my crazy Dominican stories.
Yeah,
my phone's doing well. I'm still on 25%, so this is much better.
Yeah.
I was worried earlier that I wasn't going to make it. We spent an hour and a half on video waiting for someone to log in.
Yeah, normal stuff.
I mean,
normal stuff, Adam.
I know what happens. The touchpad on his phone didn't recognize metallic robotic fingers. It wants a fingerprint, and it just wasn't having it, was it?
Oh my God!
My name is Joseph. I am an RC robot sent back through time. We used to do things like the Shermanator, didn't we? Like the Shermanator speech in the robotic Joseph voice. Yeah. The coordinator.
Oh my gosh. I could imagine the type of shit you guys used to get into.
You want someone on, I mean, Joseph, we need on, don't you, as well? My old partner in crime. Rob Rose, Hollywood. I mean, he is funny. He's raced with him for years, and he stopped racing a while ago. I sort of backed off and stopped a little bit. He's just started again. Yeah, we're going to be back out there again, when the racing picks up later in the year. And it's, he's a funny guy. There's no two ways about it. He looks like Ned Flanders, but without the tash. And he's just funny. He does interviews, trackside interviews. Some of them are legendary because the stuff he comes out. In fact, there's a good interview he does of me and Isherwood, isn't there? He's done a couple of them that are quite good. There's Ishy saying that's how he rolls in the pool starts. There's another interview with me eating little pieces of fruit with a Hootie Allen driver, stabbing him and putting him in my mouth. It's, yeah. But he's a good guy. We need to get him online. He would be funny.
Yeah, I think all three of us, you three. Well, Joseph still isn't saying. So, Joseph, tell us something funny you remember. Like, I just want one more story between you two because, man, you just started. Just stop being so quiet. Stop being embarrassing.
Actually, Norway was funny as well on Oslo because before we went, Joseph was really happy that they'd got this little house to stay in on Wolf Island, Ulvoya or something, and we had to stay in a hotel that was really expensive and really shit. And the funny thing is, when we went on our hire car was shit as well. It was like a Hyundai or something really crap. You guys had an Audi, didn't you, Joseph? You had quite a cool car. but you were staying in this basement on the mattresses were like bits of sponge, like a really bad caravan. It was like Joseph Fritzl's basement. They were locked in.
It must have
no
been cheap.
windows. No, it was. We were jealous because we saw the online book and we were like, oh man, we should have stayed there. And in reality, it was pretty rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like when we was driving across
Fritzl's
America
basement.
looking for hotels, we would look on Expedia or hotels.com. I was driving, he was navigating of sorts. So it'd be like, all right, 2.5 stars, anything below 2.5 stars, we'll look at the comments and oh man, it'd be like, okay, this hotel was bad, such and such, or this hotel was good. Oh, it's got 1 good comment. It's got 2 good comments. Let's get it. And then
it's still got the outline of the body on the floor and the red on the rug.
Oh
Actually,
my gosh.
what I will say for Joseph, which was really good, when we were in Crete, I mean, most of the other English guys, they all just stayed in the hotel. They were drinking Heineken. They were eating pizza and chips. We sat out on the terrace with the Greek guys. They ordered loads of dishes. We had, we experienced, the local food. We went away with them another night to a restaurant on the other side of the island that was, natives only. And we had one of the most fantastic meals I've ever had. It was brilliant price as well. And what Joseph's really good for is the way he's worked his business. He's genius, really, because have friends in different countries, go there. But when you're there, don't just do what you always do. Eat their food, drink their local beer, integrate a little bit, and you get a much better traveling experience if you do it, the RC Gypsy way than if you just do it team out. Go out as a team, all stick together, just do what you do, and he immerses himself in the cultures he goes to. You've probably experienced this yourself, and it just makes it a much more rewarding, visit to wherever you go. It's good. Hang with the locals, drink what the locals drink. Obviously, I wouldn't do that anymore because I'm a water and coffee only person now, and eat the local food, and it is the way to do it. Very good.
I agree.
Would you agree? Would you agree, Joseph, with that?
Yep, completely agree. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, he even ate balut in Philippines. But check this, right? We went to Argentina, right, Adam? And Argentina has the best beef, supposed to have the best beef in the world. And Mr. Fancy Pants right here wanted fucking spaghetti.
Picanha. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, the beef is, they give him, like, we was guests, and they gave us, like, this special cut of
picanha.
Of the beef, right? And he didn't want to eat it.
Meat.
It's
seriously.
not. He's like, it's all fatty and stuff. I'm like, this is like he just doesn't appreciate shit. But if it was whale blubber or reindeer balls, he'd be all in that
fucking
shit.
herring or some shit.
Yeah.
We don't eat that shit.
Stop
Herring
your
or
noise.
Fish balls or
Yeah.
something. Or what's that? Fiskekrogen.
Something.
Oh, when we were in Norway, one of the local guys, there's a little kiosk where we could get like a hot dog or like a waffle or something there, which was nice. And you remember Kim Juliusson? Remember him, Joseph?
Yeah.
Big guy. Not Rapey Kim, the other one. And he said, have this. And he went to the kiosk and got me this thing. It was a sweet waffle with a fucking sausage in it. And it had like fucking jam on it and like some kind of mustard. And he goes, oh, this is like a delicacy where I come from. I was like, fuck, man, that is unusual.
How did it taste?
Well, like eating sweet stuff with savoury stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose people have a donut with a burger in it,
Yeah.
Tasted like a heart attack in a bun. It was. Oh no, I'm not small. I like my food, and I had it, and I was probably drunk as well back then. So, actually, Norway was good for me because I couldn't afford to be drunk all the time. So,
Expensive over there.
Yeah.
So, Adam, were you at the Neo, or were you still drinking at the Neo where me and Elias got thrown out of the local bar?
Oh, was that when you... Yeah, I was. I was at the college drinking with the guys who ran the meeting. But I remember the guy was sort of pulling you out and you kept shouting out, he's touching my penis. He's touching my penis. I can remember that's what you were shouting at there.
What the?
Yeah, that was another thing of like, you said something, mate. It's like, what did you say to me? And you've done the old, robotic reply, which obviously didn't go down well. And yeah, you got... Luckily... he didn't kick fuck out of you. So yeah, you did quite well, really.
Yeah.
You had your penis touched. So yeah.
What happened there, Joseph? Now you told the story. What happened there in that case?
At Neo, is it Telford? The town.
Telford's the bigger town, and there's a little place fairly close.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Edgemond.
So it was that smaller place, not Telford. So there's a smaller.
Is it Edgemond? I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, the smaller place close to where the race is, there's one bar basically that everyone went to from the Neo race. So we were all in there, and then we were ordering some drinks. Me and Elias. I ordered the drinks. We got the drinks, and there was some sort of miscommunication or something. Like she couldn't hear what I said, I couldn't hear what she said. Something, and there was something about change or something. I can't remember exactly what happened.
Oh, didn't you?
But anyway,
I just remembered something else as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I think what happened was that the bouncer was kind of walking around and thought that there was an argument or something happening, but there actually wasn't. Like we just ordered and figuring out the change or something, and he
didn't you just like throw a penny, and he was like at him or something?
What?
Didn't you like throw a coin at him and say, "Here's a pound, buy a personality," or something like that, or buy a neck or something?
Because he was, I mean, it looked like there was something going on to him, but there really wasn't. But he kind of made the situation, he escalated the situation by his presence and the way he entered the situation. So there was no problem, but he created a problem. So I picked up a penny from the bar and handed him a penny and said, "Here's a penny, now go away," or something like that.
Yeah, here's a penny, fuck off.
And then he left.
And that's when he
left to get his friend, and then they threw me and Ilias out.
You know, when I went to England, though, I had no issues. I actually couldn't get into clubs. I was a lot smaller, but I was still, in really good shape, lifting a lot of weights. They wouldn't let me in.
Shape.
Yeah, well, I'm round now, but I was in really good shape back then. And the bouncers just wouldn't let me in. And my buddy was like, "Yeah, they think you're going to start a whole bunch of trouble." And
well, they don't think you're going to start. They just don't want to have to deal with you if you do, basically.
The other thing I got was when I was in the UK was everybody would come up to me asking if I had drugs on me. I was like, "What, do I look like a drug dealer or something?" It was so crazy.
It must have just been talcum powder all around your nose. Yeah.
My gosh.
Must have just been a bit of talc, yeah.
Hey, so you got to meet Elias too, right? Then
Yeah, I met him when we went out to Crete, and I met him a couple of times. Euros he came over in Reims, I think, and Neo races a few times, yeah.
That's the one relationship I think Joseph should try and we talk about it a lot, Joseph. I think you should try and bury the hatchet and become friends with Elias again.
You can't bury the hatchet with an emotional Mediterranean.
He does hold a bit of a grudge. We fell out about something, me and Elias, a little bit about something. I think something he said about John Hazelwood, and I said I disagreed with him, and he didn't speak to me for like a year or something. So that was a little bit unusual. So obviously when he was, working for Joseph, I had to sort of speak to him then. And then we just didn't speak about it again, and then we were fine. But yeah, he does hold a grudge, but, he's a nice guy.
Awesome. Man, I have been in stitches since you started talking, and Ishua was right. It's like, you're going to absolutely non-stop laughter when you're with Adam. I hope to meet you one day. I hope to go to a race with you one day, because I was in stitches. Oh my gosh. Joseph, we need to go to a race in the UK.
Which was the one we were really drunk? Was it Neo 09 where we literally were just drunk the whole time, I think?
Maybe. Yeah. 8 or 9.
Yeah. 8. Yeah, definitely 9. I don't know which one it was where I was drinking the Jack Daniels out of the bottle, and there were people talking about drink racing on starting grid, and someone posted my picture on there, and everyone was going fucking crazy. I was saying, "No, that bloke just looks like he's having good fun. I'm sure he's fine." I said, "Maybe he's doing it to calm his nerves." And they go, "No, man, I've heard about him. He's like some kind of fucking lunatic." And I was like, "Oh, just having a laugh, But yeah, I mean, that probably wasn't a brilliant picture to have, on Neo Buggy website. Me banging a bottle of Jack Daniels, 9 o'clock in the morning. Worst thing is, it probably wasn't my first drink of the day anyway. But yeah, it was not the best, but this is how we rolled back then. We do what we want, as we used to say, which was what we used to say, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And when they say against the odds, it was against the odds of falling down drunk, things like that. So as a non-drinker now, I would obviously be a much, more sensible ambassador, but, I don't think we did the brand any harm, really.
What about your 10 scale stories? I remember there are 2 really good 10 scale stories. You swapping a car out to the air and then radiating.
Oh, yeah. That's someone asked Darren Bloomfield what his best RC memory was, and he said it was an indoor race doing some 10. There was a massive jump, like a sort of tabletop jump, right in front of the driver's stand, but it had a bit of slippery floor coming up to it. So I've come round on the slippery bit, pinned the throttle. I should have just given it a little squeeze, but I pinned it. The car squirmed a bit on the up side of the ramp, shot straight towards the drivers. It's going right to the guy next to me's face. I put my hand out, patted the car down. It's down ramp perfectly, and I just carried on as if nothing had happened. So that was reasonably good. I mean, my other 10th scale claim to fame, there's this Greek guy called Manolis. He makes his own cars from bits he's found, I think, and body shells from 2-litre Coca-Cola bottles and stuff like that. I mean, I actually got beaten by him in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive on the same weekend at one of the Petite RC international races. I mean, that was pretty special. I mean, luckily, in both of those, I broke about 2 minutes in, and it did take him the rest of the 5 minutes to actually, catch up again, but only just. But yeah, I think it was 3 minutes I broke or something. He had 2 minutes to catch me again. So I was going hard, but yeah, it was a 10th scale. I'm not sure was for me. I did it as a way. I always went all right in the finals. I used to build the cars well, so they'd last. I'd settle down in the final. It'd take me all weekend to learn the track. Obviously, alcohol doesn't help. And, I'll go all right in the final. I'll bump a few times. 10th scale, I thought, if I do 10th, I'm going to have to drive better over 5 minutes. It's going to make me qualify better. No, all 10th scale meant was I spent lots more on parts because the cars used to get smashed to fucking bits. So it didn't do me any good at all. Although the Belgium race was absolutely brilliant every year. It's just so good. The Belgium GP at Campenhout. That should be on everyone's calendar. Even if you just go to enjoy the party, it's good. But that is good. But yeah, we have a good crowd out there.
How long have you been racing RC, Adam?
2002, maybe, something like that. Swapped my motocross bike for an old Chrono, which I wish I'd kept because it was the last of the, one of the 2-stroke Hondas, which I wish I'd had now because it would be worth mega bucks. But yeah, I've done my knees in, done my back in. Fancied a hobby that didn't hurt me. So yeah, got an old Chrono with an RB, which actually was quite fast. Did the Kosho thing, did the Mugen thing, did the X-Ray thing. I think I was still driving X-Ray when we first met Joseph. So yeah. And then obviously the JQ thing for the last little while. So yeah.
Sweet.
I've tried a few vehicles over the time.
Awesome. Wow. Oh man. Joseph, you got any funny stories before we sign off? We got to have Adam back on her again.
We need Liam Flanders and Isherwood. We need all of us. Yeah.
Isherwood won't come on her, I don't think. He will, but he'll be all serious.
Yeah, all posh. Yeah. Not to be confused with anything you may, suspect, but which is not actually true. I shouldn't say it because I actually really like Dave. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's the one who got you to be on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I did give him the hump a few years ago about, because we were a bit relentless with our Mickey taking, and he did get
you got to have thick skin when you hang around you guys. I can tell that already.
Yeah, so, I regret that a little bit, but he's 100% good guy. I've always got time for him. Even though I'm going to get like 2 messages a year, but I've always got time to read them. Yeah. But no, he's good. I'd like to see him again soon. He's a good guy.
Joseph.
And of course, what he's doing with RCGP is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, if anything, I'm a bit disappointed that I haven't been quite as involved in any of it at all for the last couple or 3 years. I had a couple of health issues, so I sort of stopped a bit. But I'm, getting back now to where I'm a lot better, and I'll be able to be a bit more involved. But yeah, I'm quite, not resentful, but I'm a bit sad that I hadn't been more involved in both what Joseph's doing with his brand and with the RCGP when I potentially should have been. So yeah, apologies, guys, but let's see what we can do.
But you are coming back. You are going to race again, right?
Yeah.
When can we expect you to? When can we start warning tracks about you before you get there?
Well, I haven't hit a marshal in the head for ages, but then I haven't raced for ages. I did have this funny thing where I was, hitting marshals in the head, every race I went to. I haven't done that for a long, long time.
We do
One of the worst things about 10th as well. Do you remember a car called a Predator? I mean, it was, this low and flat and fast. I had one, I was racing it indoors. I put a Mamba Max 7700 in it. It was like, if you light a firework rocket laying on the ground, it was like, it was so fast. And it went behind this marshal, Tom Yardy, quite a portly chap at the time. He was quite a tubby nipper. He's not some base big now. And I didn't know there's a car parked sideways across the track behind him, so I couldn't see it. So the car's gone behind this chair at full pelt, and then it's just like someone's just thrown a dustbin full of bits out the other side. Someone's just thrown a Paula bag of spares out there. There's this big bang, and just like these bits just went flying everywhere. And I was like, oh, well, that's the end of four-wheel drive then. And this was like the warm-up lap for the first heat. I was like, what can I do? So I went B44 after that. And, of course, every time you clipped anything with that, it was like a wishbone, sometimes a drive shaft, always a hinge pin, usually a shock tower, sometimes a shock shaft. It got quite expensive. Although, when Craggy used to look after me and Paul Bradby, and they were pretty good. They kept me going. I was at one of the petite races, actually. Can't remember where it was. It wasn't at Maritime. It was somewhere up the country a little bit, an international one. Mark Reinhard was there. That's what he was putting next to us. And we were all going really well. And there's this sweeping corner, and I just couldn't get around this corner. Because it was fast. You had to be pinned around there. And with a grip, it just wasn't working for me. Smashed off my inside front wheel, the right-hand front wheel. Oh, man, it was the fastest I've been all weekend. I was dialed around there. I was literally pinned flat out, and it was just going around this corner like it was on rails. And I was backflipping the tabletop every lap, flat out around the big corner, backflip the tabletop every lap on three wheels. And I was on three wheels, from after my second lap of the race. Caught something else just in front of Ellis Stafford, knocked off the other front wheel. And he's put my car up and put it the right way round. I don't know what I was thinking because I throttled it and I've gone to turn. And I'm shouting out, it's got no steering. It's got no steering. And I thought, well, actually, it hasn't got either front wheel on there. So it's probably not going to happen. Of course, everyone thought that was quite funny. But yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's got no steering. I've lost steering. But yeah, I'd lost whole front end.
Oh, my God.
There's a picture of the
I'm in tears here, man.
Like,
I'm literally in tears. Oh, my gosh. I have to meet you, dude. I have to meet you. I swear I'm not going to stop laughing the entire time I'm with you.
Well, all I'm thinking is, 3 or 4 years off racing, I'm probably not going to have got any better, am I? That's the thing. So
I've hit a few people in the head, too. It's not a good feeling.
I don't know. It's probably better to be behind the controller than in front of the car, isn't it, really?
I hit a girl and left a tire print in her forehead once. At my first big race, and everybody talked about it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's getting yourself out there. That's getting yourself known.
She was like, "I'm sorry. I'm like,
exactly. You said, well, "Get out of the way. Heads up. What are you doing? Just stop my car again." I was at a race somewhere, and what happened? I'd crashed over the. No, that's it. There's some marshal in the track. I didn't know he was there. There was like a quad section. You had to hit it hard to do it. And if there's a quad section there. It might have been a triple single. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go for all four tonight. That's what I do. So I've gone for all four, and the marshal's in the track. He's gone in his rib. It's like really hard. You heard him go, all the air come out of his body, and he's fallen on the floor, and my car's laying upside down. So I'm going, wheel, wheel, wheel. And he's like crawling to get to my car as fast as he can and turns me out the right way while he's got his broken ribs and that. And he's said all fair play to him. What a good lad.
Hey, I think we better send a warning that you're coming back because, man, Marshall's in trouble.
Yeah. Well, not really. No, I haven't been a Marshall for ages. Even, I haven't raced for ages. The last couple of years, I didn't break a car. I've had the last couple of 10th meetings I don't think I even broke. And I was getting a little bit less crashy. Certainly Marshall-wise anyway.
Less crashy.
I look ahead a bit. Yeah. Well, it's not crashy. It's, if you're trying stuff, You try and lines, some of them on the track, some of them off, some of them over people, some of them just plain, well, what happened there? I borrowed someone's glasses at one of the videos, and I'm like, whoa, I could see all the perforations in the track and everything. Without them, it just looked like a brown sort of smudgy line. I still don't wear glasses. I mean, I borrowed John Dell's and, a couple of times, and I could see better. It didn't really make me drive any better. Oh, the worst one there was they had an options section, and I crashed over the jump. Of course, I'd driven the wrong way up the options section, so I didn't walk the track before we got there, did I? And that was a bit special. So, when you got two different lines, and I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, I've been here a minute ago. I went, oh, I see what they've done there.
Maybe you should get your eyes checked, dude. Maybe
no, you just need to look at the track and follow the lap in your head before you go out there. But that's the trouble when you're out in the first heat as well. If you haven't looked at the track, you're learning the track for everybody else. You don't know how hard to hit things to get over them. So you just over jump everything. That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God, Joseph, I can understand why you are the way you are. So thick-skinned. Oh my gosh, robotic man. Adam.
It's not thick skin, it's a metal exoskeleton, I think you'll find. Titanium alloy exoskeleton around his core processor.
What do you think?
Tiny widget. Micro USB with a little cap on the end still.
JQ needs a USB. Dagani actually has a song. How about that? It's so funny. I think it goes, JQ needs a USB.
Well, he doesn't get on very well with USA. You may as well try USB. He's the only person to upset more people in the USA than Ali G.
I would say so.
Or Borat. Yeah, you're like a Finnish Borat, aren't you, a little bit?
Oh, my God.
It's nice.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. But Borat, it's a cross between Ali G and Borat. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's a great comparison. Oh, dude. So when do you think you're making your comeback, Adam?
Just waiting for the UK to get back to some sort of normality. I think, the first races are sort of happening over the next few weeks. So I think most importantly, I need to obviously find myself another job because the place I was working went bust due to the downturn in business through the unfortunate situation we're in at the moment. But, once that's sorted, then I'll have a bit of a cushion or a bit of the pressure will be off and I can, start enjoying myself again. So, soon, But like I said, I need to get a job before I do anything else. That's priority at the moment.
Sweet. Well, dude, this has been 45 minutes of pure laughter. Oh my gosh. We need to get you on again. And we get your buddy, what's his name? Mr. Flanders?
Flanders
on. And we can rib Joseph some more. Before we go, I need you to give me a good, epic, robotic JQ discussion. Or just a phrase or something before we go. Oh, well,
the all-time great one's got to be the guys in Oslo, hasn't it? What did you say? I said, you fucking idiot. And then all hell breaks loose. That was, mind you saying that, here's a fucking penny, go away. That's pretty good, isn't it? And then shouting out, you're touching my penis. I can feel you touching my penis. Or was he grabbing you and you were saying, you're getting a boner, I can feel your boner? It was something like that. It was either one of those.
Yeah, I think it was that.
I wasn't there. I had to hear it.
I can feel your boner.
Yeah, I can feel your boner while you're cuddling me. And we were in the bar, there was Robert Kay, chap from Norway, was there, and they were just about to close. And he said, we have more drinks. And we went, yeah, all right then. So there's only about 4 of us left in the bar. And he goes to the bar and he said, can I have some pints? And the lady looked at her watch and goes, yeah, go on then. How many? And he goes, 10. And she's like, what? And he goes, 10 is a number in England, yes. And she went, yeah. He goes, I want 10. And then she poured them all. And then he goes, I want shots. And she goes, what do you want? And he goes, 10. And she goes, oh, God. So, yeah. And then when he spent an immense amount of money, and like we were already all wasted and going to bed anyway, but it was, 10 of everything.
Oh,
crazy.
My God. Oh,
he had a good time, though.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, well, I want to thank you for coming on and just keeping me in tears this whole time.
Yeah, we do it again.
Yes, we have to.
I mean, that's because it's been a while, I've seen some of these stories are a little bit sort of like, hang on, was it like that or wasn't it? But yeah, I'm sort of remembering now. But yeah, I'm a bit out of the loop. But yeah, there'll be some more stuff we can find.
Sweet.
Yeah, maybe I'll find some funny old pictures somewhere. I mean, what's that checkered haircut all about?
Oh, yeah.
And Reams. But then the big green hands was good. You know, people were loving that. So
we need to bring that back, good. Joseph. At what next big race we go? Big green hands.
I mean, yeah. And I don't mean getting fingered by Shrek either. Although if we paint Keenan green, I don't know. Is he a bit Shrek-like?
Oh, he is actually. He's got a gimp arm too.
Oh my gosh! I got my left arm's paralyzed. Well, 75% paralyzed. But I still can knock Joseph on his ass with it. I did it at DNC. Fell in trash can.
Yeah, just sort of swing your whole body and just let it flap from the shoulder.
Oh yeah, just whap.
Yeah,
and he fell. You know, he falls over his own feet when he walks. So, you know, I don't know how he was a goalie or any type of sports, but he can play the violin pretty good.
Well, if you look at some of these modern videos, they get in these robots now. They're like jumping up steps. They're doing forward rolls. You know, he's the potential for improvement.
We got to update him
all the time.
We got to update him. Get him an update.
I mean, perhaps that's what he's doing. When you ask him a question and you wait for it, because he might be buffering or something. You know, or he's like rebooting or something like that. Maybe. I mean, if you get a chance, watch an English comedy program called The IT Crowd. There's a guy quite a bit like Joseph in there. You know the guy, don't you, Joseph? Is it Richard Ayoade
or something?
Yeah. He's very Joseph-like. I mean, the IT Crowd from the UK.
Oh my god,
very Joseph-like.
I'm gonna
have to check it out. The very, very final episode's a really good one as well, because where they do some stuff and it goes viral. But yeah, he is. Oh no, the best one's when they get in with the geezers and they go to the football. And he gets these phrases off someone who's like, did you see that ludicrous display last night? And they're talking about the football. And he's acting like a geezer, and obviously he's not. That's quite good. Very good. Worth a go.
Buffering. That's going to be the voice note right there. And he's thinking he's buffering. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. Well, we're definitely going to have you on here again. And thank you for coming on and sharing these awesome stories. And it was a barrel full of laughs. Thank you for helping me give shit
all right
to
once
Joseph.
we got going. Yeah.
You know, me and SV was waiting for Joseph for an hour to get on, and it discharged your phone. So typical JQ stuff. Joseph, anything to say for Adam before we go?
Wasn't he?
Buffering. He was downloading.
Charging.
Yeah, there he was. That's what it was. That's why it took so long. Then he tried to act like he was in the chat the whole time.
He was playing with his USB stick.
he was unsheathing it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to tell that story too, Joseph. I got that baby carrot shark. Oh my gosh, that's coming up next. I just need to get the audio from the FBI.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
Actually, we could paint him gold, and he could be JQPO.
With the glasses, he looks just like him. Tall, lanky.
Actually, no, he sounds quite posh, doesn't he? C3PO. He reminds me of someone else. Yeah. Actually, we did have R2D2, didn't we? As well.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. We did have R2D2, a little fat chap from Finland. It was little and small and round. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for helping us out today, Adam. It's going to be I'm telling people already, make sure you listen to the Gypsy Tales this week because it's epic. And thank you, Joseph, for your time. And thank you, Rob's Oil, for bringing this awesome RC Gypsy Tales all the way from UK and Finland and, of course, Bermuda. Thanks, Adam. And, hey, let's get you back on the track here soon and racing.
Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to Flanders and I'll get him involved.
Thank you.
In one of these.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right.
Speak to you soon, guys. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
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 We are now at that point of the show where you should fasten those seatbelts and put your big boy pants on. Whoa. Things are about to get serious. It's time for the JQ Racing Rant.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of the podcast. To take your gloves off, put on your big boy panties, you get easily offended, please don't listen to this part of the podcast. If you have young children, well, we did have a disclaimer for the story time as well, but this one we got a little bit more savage. So, hey, the JQ Racing rant. And Joseph has a rant, as usual. Joseph always has a rant. So what's going on, Josie? What do you want to rant about today?
Yeah, today I actually have a rant that I care about. So it's kind of a continuation of what I was talking about in the previous rant about, having an opinion and making sure it makes sense, gather all the facts, make up your mind, stick to it, have some integrity, have a spine, be honest, be real, change your opinion if needed, live and learn sort of thing. Okay, this kind of has to do with that. And surprise, surprise, it's about RCGP and some comments I saw about it. I think it was yesterday. And I know people tend to always make things personal. And this is not one of those times. This is not about any kind of personal thing. No, this is about the idea of RC racing as it is now, and figuring out a way to where we can grow our industry, get more people in, more people involved, get better media coverage, create a better image for racing, make it more fun for people at the track, improve our racing formats, all of these different things that need to be done, figure out a way to do that. Okay? So instead of having everyone do their own thing and the situation just remaining the same, let's figure out a way to improve it. So I have understood for a long time why things don't improve. But I think most people, even people that listen to this show, don't really understand the reason why things don't improve, why things don't change, why we keep doing the same thing over and over, and why it's so hard for something like RCGP to actually take off and work, or any of the like Manufacturers Cup that gave away a dirt bike and the quad and money prizes and had a packed stand, thousands of people watching the race, like all of these things that have happened in the past. Like, why don't they take off? Why doesn't it work? Why are we not on ESPN sort of thing? Like why are these things so impossible? Why do they show cornhole on ESPN? Like, seriously, why did drones take off? Why are things that, like, these marble races on YouTube, millions of views and stuff, like, what the fuck? Like, can't we get our shit together enough to do something? Like, why is this so hard? And then I came across this yesterday, and it just so perfectly illustrates the issue. So once again, even we have to name these people, because I want you to hear what they say. I want you to think about what they are saying. And I want you to sit down and come to your own conclusion to what's really going on. Why are things this way? And could they be different? So this isn't a personal attack against these people, because 95% of people are exactly like this. So keep that in mind. So this is off that I forget what it's called, the TLR something on YouTube that Thomas Tran does. He had Adam Drake as a guest, and someone asked, what's your opinion on RCGP? And they gave a long answer, but we have these two clips that kind of encapsulates their opinion of it. And then we'll talk about it a bit, and I'll give you my thoughts. So, Keenan, can you play those clips?
Sure.
Well, because I was there at the meeting in Australia, right? Yeah. So I was there, and my whole thing with that was, I think all the companies thought it was a great idea. I think it was none of us thought it was a bad idea. It was just like, hey, let's test this first to see how it goes before we jump ahead in and invest a ton of money and try to rearrange all the schedules to make this work. I think, like you said, if they would have ran something that was kind of maybe pre-built or built on something that kind of existed, maybe threw in a pilot race to kind of showcase some stuff, I think it would have been on for the next year if they were able to show successfully, and I think all the teams would have been on board. I don't think none of us were thinking like this is not going to be good for RC. I think it was. I think it's just making sure that it actually works and that it that we have the funding for it.
I remember you bringing up that point because they kept telling us.
Yeah, and the second one.
Great idea. Just I think I hope it works. You know what I mean? I hope it gets going and big, and I would love to get all of us involved and making it happen. But now it's kind of in limbo. We don't really know what's happening next year.
It's going to be even more difficult now with everything.
Okay. So there you heard it. So we're not twisting their words or anything. This is public on YouTube. This is what they said. So let's just go through this for a minute. They both agree. RCGP, great idea. Coverage was awesome. RCGP limits entries, gives more track time to racers. It's a good thing. Adam said that wasn't actually in that clip, but he said that like they're doing many, like limiting entries, giving more track time. Those are good things. Coverage is awesome. It's like watching real full-scale racing. They both said great idea. Both hope it works. Would love to get all of us involved. So what's the problem? Okay, the problem is, well, it's adding more races. They would have to change around their schedules and budgets, and it's not proved. So it would kind of need to be tested first. There's a risk of investing, like these sort of things haven't worked in the past. So maybe should have done some pilot races or something, like shown what RCGP is all about. And maybe if that was successful, then all the teams would be all the teams would have been on board. That direct quote. So had RCGP put on a pilot race or series or been able to join other events or do something like that where the investment is less and shown that it's good, so it works, the coverage is good, people like it, this is something that can move RC racing forward. If RCGP could just do that, then according to these guys, they would love to get all of us involved. They hope it works, and they think that all the teams would have been on board had RCGP only shown that this works. Okay, now what's wrong with that? The thing that's wrong with that is that they said this yesterday. And do you know what? In 2019, there was a full RCGP season of 4 races on 3 different continents with all the great coverage, and everyone knows it. And they are talking about some pilot race and proving the concept and not sure. And what is this bullshit? What is this? At least come up with a better excuse if you do not want to support it. Literally saying, it's a great idea, coverage is awesome, I hope it works, would love to get all of us involved. If only we knew like the pilot season race, this and that, and no need to invest money and low risk. And then if we know that it works, then all teams would join. Okay, well then what's the problem right now? Because there has been a full season. The teams that entered are entered again because they enjoyed it. The coverage has been good. There's still a video series coming out starting next week, I believe. So the ball is still rolling, and the teams, certain teams are not joining. So what I want these people and these companies to do now is to be honest. Just give the right and like the honest reasons for not supporting it. Tekno said Tekno isn't going to join RCGP because JQ is involved. They outright said that. Good on them. Daniel Lewis doesn't like me, and because I was involved in getting RCGP off the ground, then he doesn't want to be a part of it. I think it's very narrow-minded and a dumb way to live your life. But hey, it's great. He was honest. That's why they're not joining. Fine. I don't have a problem with that. So no Tekno in RCGP. X-Ray are not joining because they have a limited budget, and they are focusing their budget on their own XRS grassroots racing club race series where they can promote and sell their products and it makes sense for them. And in addition, they send their drivers to the European Championships and World Championships. That's it. They didn't pay for Barufalo to go to DNC. Hot Race did. They have a strict budget, certain races that they support, and they are doing their own thing with their XRS in Eastern Europe mainly, but other countries too. It makes sense. Good reason. That's why they're not joining. This sort of wishy-washy bullshit of it's great, it's awesome, all this supportive thing, and then like, why aren't you joining? And there's nothing, like no substance. Let's just agree to fucking end this now, and let's be honest. Seriously, it's not about money. It's not super expensive to join. We can all see the benefit. You go to PNB, finish 12th, no one knows. There is no pictures, there's no videos, there's no reports, there's nothing. Nothing, right? Because there was no one there to cover the race. You do a season of RCGP, there's all these videos, pictures, storylines, websites, podcasts. You can do your own videos. The RCGP makes videos. There's press conferences. There's this, there's that. You have guaranteed media, regardless of how the race goes for you and where you finish. And then after the races, after the season is done, there's still video series that comes out that tells the story of the season. So it's like guaranteed exposure. We all know this. We all accept it. Even these people are saying that it's great. So there's no questions anymore. There's no doubt anymore. Everyone knows that it works. Everyone's seen that it works. They said themselves, if RCGP could just do a race and show what they do, show everyone, prove to everyone that it works, then all the teams would be on board. Well, what's up now? I would like to have some reasons. No more excuses. Let's be honest here. Give some reasons. Why aren't you joining? What?
You are the reason.
Well, then they should say it, just like Tekno.
I didn't watch this part. I watched a little bit of what you sent me. I watched a bit of Thomas Tran last night. Nothing against him and his program. It was a good program. They went in depth about tuning engines and all that stuff. Good stuff. But I it was late. I fell asleep. I had to be up early today, so I didn't watch the whole thing. I know I heard it said something like, oh, we was at the meeting in Australia and I asked if they had any video to show, anything like that. Well, obviously nothing had happened at that point. So you can't show video of something that hasn't happened.
But
right?
They are still sticking to the same excuses. Can you move on now? At least you have to update your reasons for or excuses for not joining. Like update now. Think of another reason and say that reason, and then fine, let's move on.
No, I have a couple of theories.
You can't on one hand say that, oh, I hope it works. Everyone will support it if it's good. And then when it actually is good and it exists, and HBS Works, Infinity, JQ Racing, Associated, all of these companies are already supporting it and it's good and it's working. And you are saying, oh, it's awesome. Coverage is awesome. It's the fucking best thing ever, really. Like, this is what RC needs. I hope it works. I think all the teams would be on board if it's good. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, you can't say that and then not join. Like, if you say, you have to give a reason for not joining. X-Ray had a reason there. Okay, use that excuse if you want. Tekno had a reason. Okay, there you go. Use that as your reason. Like, think of something to say and say that. None of this, like, enough of this bullshit.
You know what, man? I I think this comes back to what I like about there's RC is run by certain companies. Like I'll be honest with you, the tire companies have a big say in what goes in RC right now. They're making the money. People need tires. I think they like. I mean, like just like you said, Hot Race paid for Barufla to go there. I'm not like. It's just a lot of things that, like a lot of politics that go on in RC. And if you don't play ball with them, they take their ball and fuck off. You know that. That happens with the governing federations, all this type of stuff. So it's no different with this. You know, Joseph, like, let's be fucking realistic. You have rattled cages, shook trees. You have busted down doors. You've burnt bridges. You've done all of this. All of this. In RC, you have done great things, but you've also done this along the way. Maybe this is a little bit coming back to bite you, but I feel even if this wasn't you, the same thing would happen.
But I am also not RCGP. Now, the fact that I was involved in getting it going, I understand why people see it. Well, he's involved in like Tekno. Like, I completely understand.
But I understand that, but you're involved.
If that is your fucking opinion, then state it. Don't say that it's awesome and then wishy-washy, not support it anyway. Like, don't be fake. Don't try and appeal to everyone like you're the good guy and everything's so awesome and I do everything right and I'm awesome and I'm supporting RC and trying to build it up. And then at the same time, you taking a massive shit, stinking shit, and expecting people not to see it. Like, hey, what are you doing here?
Well, you know what, Joseph?
Like, own up to what you're doing.
You criticized PNB earlier about their schedule. We can agree with that, all that type of stuff. But we all thought it was a good race to have come back and all that stuff. You've been very vocal about lots of races, and that's
so what? But I always have a point why I'm vocal about it.
Yes,
I don't say some complete random bullshit that doesn't make sense.
I get that, but man, it just comes down to it, man. It's the same thing. Look, you know what? People say, like Drake and them guys say, oh, we need to get back to club racing. I agree totally. We need to get more people club racing. We also need to get more people to go club racing. That's cool. That's where you learn a lot. Just looked at Revelation, big club race this past weekend at PNB. Wally was telling me he didn't finish till 1 o'clock in the morning. Good stuff. That's great. That's all great. But it's like, yes, we need to do that, but we need to do this and we need to do that, but we need to try new things as well.
Yeah,
and that's where
people need to stop saying one thing and then doing another thing.
Right, this is where the big disconnect comes. Somebody comes along with a new thing, and it's just not going to work. We've did it before. Well, I've never seen a worldwide series in RC, and I've been into RC for 20 plus years. I've never seen it. I've maybe seen series along in America. The closest I saw was the RC Pro Series when it was fully running East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, South, all that type of stuff. Man, it just you knew all of this was going to happen. You knew all of this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. Like for change to happen, change actually has to happen. But I get your frustration. I'm listening to this. Oh, if they just had well, I'm sorry. Haven't you seen the videos? Like maybe it isn't as popular as we wanted it to be. Maybe we need to get that website back up and going again. But when it comes to information and what's been going on with RCGP, I get tired of that excuse. Oh, I don't have any information. I don't know that there's been podcasts.
Look.
There's been 15 podcasts about it. There's multiple videos explaining it. It's been talked about at every aspect for the last 2 years. But I just think that if certain people don't want it or don't like it, it's just they have influence and power, and they're gonna do everything to prevent it from happening. I don't know who these certain people are, but the RC industry is very small. It's very niche, and I do think money as an issue with it. First people heard the amount that it costs to enter, and then they got to think about sending people to these races. But then they'll send people to these races like I don't know, wherever. But I think most of the drivers that want, and here's another thing. When somebody was telling me drivers don't decide where they go to race. Well, Ryan Lutz decided where he wanted to race this past weekend. You know what I mean? There's lots of things. I keep hearing, every time I hear is different excuses. I think, yes, obviously, you are very ostracizing and stuff like that, but it isn't about you. It's about the actual event and all that type of stuff. But it's
like I said in the beginning, people can't separate the personal thing from an idea or something bigger than that. They only see personal always, like very low level thinking, like, oh, I don't like this guy, so I'm not going to do that. That kind of level.
Like how life is, Joseph, unfortunately.
Yeah. But that's why, I respect Tekno. They just straight up said it. Like, okay, JQ's involved, then we're not going to join because we don't like JQ. Okay, fine. X-Ray, they have their own thing going on. They don't have budget for that. Like, they think that this is the strategy that will help them move forward. Okay, good, fine. But then this wishy-washy bullshit, stop it. Just sit down, have a meeting, figure out what your strategy is, and then that's it. And that's your strategy. It's not just the
manufacturers. Look at the governing federations. Look at everything that's going on. It's just how RC is.
Same problems here with the federations. It's like no direction. IFMAR, what do they do? Nothing. EFRA, at least they're trying to do something, but
yeah, but as soon as you say something like that, you're the worst person in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, man? Change doesn't happen. You know what? You always say you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs.
So, if anything, this has just motivated me more to make it even better, So I think a big disconnect also is like people think that I own RCGP and I'm pocketing their money. That's like a big thing. I haven't made any money on RCGP and I don't own it. David owns it. David Isherwood wanted me to do a JQ race for years. He said, I think you can make a great event. You should do a race. I said, I'm not a fucking race organizer. I'm a car designer for many years. He kept asking me every year. Then I told him, look, if you want to make a race so bad, okay, I'll help you make a race, but we're going to have to make a world championship series. And at that point, like, I literally just said that and had no plan. Nothing. No idea. So for a year or two, after he kind of liked the idea and wanted to do it, I had to come up with the idea. So I came up with the idea, thought about it, all different directions and ways and plans and schedules, and talked to a lot of people in the industry, drivers, companies, owners, all kinds of people. Just talked to them, sent them stuff, asked opinions, figured out how to do it. And then at the end of all of that development work, without actually racing anything, figured out like the best way to actually give value for the companies that join, make it good for the drivers, and also help the industry is to make it this closed, smaller series, because then we can focus on it. We can make it look good, look consistent throughout the year, make it like Formula One or MotoGP or something like that. Like, that's just the best way to do it. There are big races already. We don't need another big race. We need something unique and special, something to brand nicely and to inspire people to race, inspire people to take scale motorsport seriously and like a viable hobby or sport. So that's what we're going to do. David invested a shit ton of money into it, and I invested a shit ton of time and some money too, like paying for my own way and paying for other people and paying to do this and logos and graphics and websites and all kinds of stuff that I just paid because it's for the greater good. It's going to be good. This is going to help JQ Racing at the end of the day, just like it's going to help fucking S-Works or HB Racing, right? That's why I do it, because I want this industry to grow, because it's going to help me also, because I'm in the industry. This is the real story. This is where we are at. So take a fucking minute, forget about who you like or who posted what or who supports Trump or doesn't support Trump or this or that, or I don't give whatever, like who is religious and who isn't. Like, forget everything else. Just look at RC racing. Look at you buying an RC car, going to the track and having fun. Who is trying to make that better and who is not doing that? Just look at that. Then listen to that fucking video clip,
of a great idea. I hope it works. If only we had proof of concept, then everyone would join. Is that people being honest? Are they trying to improve RC, or are they low-level thinking on a personal level? I don't like that guy, so I'm not going to play in his sandbox. Which is it? RCGP was something that was created for the industry, inviting everyone in. Banners, flags, videos for everyone. It wasn't the JQ Racing series. It wasn't like Mayfield said at the Worlds, why would we follow this guy and fucking support, like help him race more? It was the opposite of that. My racing suffered. I spent money because I believe in this project, and I think David Isherwood can do something great in RC. But he couldn't do it alone. He needed a fucking idiot who would invest time, thought, and money into something to make it happen. Because there's not enough money in this industry. You have to work for free to make something happen. And then in the future, we can all reap the benefits of it. That's just the way it is. Like, fucking, get your fucking blinders off.
Okay.
How about that for a rant? Jesus Christ.
I have nothing to say about this rant because I totally agree with you. It's time to plug your USB in now.
Yeah, I need to charge again.
Yeah, you need to have an update. Hey, man, let's continue to push forward. There's days
we're going to fucking push forward. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.
It's days I sit here and I'm like, oh man.
Let's put it like this. Next year, there is going to be an RCGP series, with or without these people. There's also going to be other improvements, and step by step, we are going to help change RC to the better. And I hope people join. It's nothing personal against these two guys. Just like I said, most people are like this. Eventually, they'll come around, I think. Now, I hope that I hope all these things will improve in time where I can enjoy them too, and I'm not like out of the industry because I'm just like burned out and fuck that. But who knows? I think that it was great that we did the IFMAR presidential election thing with you. And instead of IFMAR actually acknowledging us or talking, joining the podcast, whatever, they just contacted Facebook and had a copyright strike and removed the page. That was the best thing they could have done. Just more motivation, dude.
I have nothing else to add to this. All good, man. You know what? I'm for everything to improve RC, not just RCGP. I'm for everything. We need to do it, and I say it. We need to hit it from all angles. So I'm not about downing anybody. I think drag racing.
You know what the funny thing actually. So, like even on this podcast, I was saying like PNB, what a like shit show, right? With a successful RCGP series and all the coverage and views and social media, and YouTube and corporate sponsors and all that, that is going to help PNB. And that is going to help other races like it. With more people in the industry, with more people actively racing, with the companies having more money to spend, it will be better for everyone. That's the ultimate goal. RCGP isn't here to take over from others. Like, don't send your drivers to other races, send them here. No. It's supposed to be something that can build up the entire industry. Have your two like real champions race here, and then the Worlds and the Raw Nationals and whatever, Euros, and then have the second tier who want to become that guy do those other races, you know? Like it would just be better overall. It's like saying that the AMA Supercross Championship is bad for Supercross. Like, what the fuck? Of course it's not. It's great. inspires more people to race. It's just a no-brainer.
Are you finished?
Okay, you want me to go on? I thought of another thing.
Make it short.
Okay, very short. One more thing. I openly complain about things. I complain about the focus on entries and not giving any value back to races and all these things. And people, you hate this guy. No, I don't. I just hate how they run their races because I know it could be better. I know what races cost to put on. I know how much money they're making. I know what the situation is. I know it could be better for the racer. And here's the thing. When you talk to the top guys, they will tell you. They say it was... Fuck. I'll read a message right here. So I'm not going to say who it was just because it's private. It's not like it's a YouTube video publicly. It was just a shit show. The joker lane was a literal joke. The wood ramps had holes in them. Blah, blah, blah. Just bragging on the race. Like it's a shit show. DNC, being in California, talking to some guys. Joey only cares about the money. He doesn't do shit for the race. Watering's terrible. He should at least get someone there who can water. JBRL is like the worst race. Just sit around all day. Like Jimmy doesn't care anymore. He just wants the money. This is things that these fucking top elite guys say, who then go on YouTube and Facebook and smile and kiss everyone's ass. And face-to-face is like best friends. This is how people are. They bitch and moan and complain about the actual things that are problems, but then they don't publicly do that. And they kiss the guy's ass that they were just bad-mouthing.
Well, they're not at liberty to do that, Joseph.
It's not about that.
It is. Some people have
not
job.
About that. It's not about that.
And they can't speak their mind. We've gone over this. Not everybody has that privilege to speak their minds without any consequences. So, I get what you're trying to say.
I think people could speak a bit more of their minds.
Well, yes, but in a different way.
Probably in a different way, with a more constructive way. But maybe someone needs to smash the fucking illusion first, and then someone else can come along, and some nice guy can come along and kind of make something out of it.
All I know, you know what I know, Joseph, is I am excited for the docuseries next week. Hopefully next week. Fingers crossed it's next week.
Yeah.
I did drop a RCGP voiceover video from Asti, but it was the boring race. Boring one. I didn't like it. I thought it was the one with when you and Leo got into it.
Why didn't you make sure it was the right one then?
I don't know, man. I wasn't prepared. Simple as that. I thought it was. But now I can, now I can sit down and focus and do things better. But anyway, man, I agree with you. We need to move forward, and I think we need to put personal discrepancies behind each other and just do it, because we're all in this industry together, and we all gotta work together at the end of the day and be with each other. It's a competition and rivalry is good, but we need to do something. We need to do something.
Yeah, we're gonna do something. It's gonna be epic. Cool. I'm looking forward to next year.
Sweet. Well, Joseph, we've been recording for a while, rambling on, talking all week. Next week we come back with our guests. Please submit your questions to the Beach RC Bench Racing Q&A. Thank you for joining in. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the support from all of the hashtag NNRC squad from around the world. Thank you to all of our patrons that go the extra mile and help keep these bills paid. Thanks to our awesome sponsors, RCMX, Tekno RC, JQ Racing, Beach RC, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Manscaped, Rob's Oil, aka that's Amsoil as well, BK Servers, Wally Builds, JQ Threads, and that's about it. If you want to add your name to that list, hit me up. We're always looking to promote and advertise for companies who believe in us. And remember, the Summer Sizzler, Labor Day. And hey, if you're racing this weekend, enjoy this podcast. Have fun. Be safe. Nitro is the glow. Anything you want to add before we sign out, Joseph? Oh, I did I did have a shout out for bloke down in Australia. I'll have to do it next week. I don't have the message. I asked you to message me, but he listens to the podcast and he says it's like polished balls. So I don't know. I guess that's a good thing in Australia or something. So thank you for the shout out. I will find your message and shout you out. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Check out our YouTube channel. We're uploading all of the old podcasts there. Oh, I was listening to episode 1, Joseph. Oh my God. It's so bad. I had that echo going on, that reverb. Ugh. I'm trying to get it out, but I can't. Like and share this podcast. Help it go viral. Be ready for the docuseries dropping next week, hopefully. And shout out to all the other podcasters out there. And hey, man, it's good to have racing back. We had something to talk about this week. So that's good. That's very good. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bill. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and patron-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.